13 News Now begins in storm mode.
All right, in storm mode, this is Williamsburg, the starting point of a snowy afternoon in Hampton Roads.
Within the past few minutes, we saw the first flakes start to fall over downtown Norfolk. The entire region is under a winter weather advisory.
Already, it's making a mess of things on the roads. We're live tracking the trouble spots.
Plus, you're helping us tell the story of the storm. We're tracking the hashtag 13 storm mode. Thanks for joining us for this special storm mode edition of 13 News Now. I'm Christina Sverjako.
And I'm Janet Roach. It's not quite as powerful as the last storm, but it can still pack a punch. Our weather technology is made for situations like this to keep you and your family safe and informed.
From Williamsburg to the ocean front, our team is out in full force checking conditions all across Hampton Roads. But first, let's get started with meteorologist Evan Stewart.
That's right. We have seen those first areas of snow start to fall here across Hampton Roads. You can see that on the radar now, although you'll also notice where we've got some of those darker blues, we've got some of the more intense or some of the more moderate snow that's working its way off towards the east. Now, Jeff, my clicker's not working, so if you can, there it goes, if you can advance weather 2 for me. You'll notice that we have seen that snow already start to work its way in. We've seen several hours across areas of the middle peninsula, and down into parts of interior North Carolina. But we have seen some of the heaviest snow through parts of the peninsula. Jeff, again, if you could advance weather 2 for me, that would be a great help since the clicker doesn't seem to be working all the way out here. But we have seen that snow picking up a little bit more up across areas of the peninsula and over towards the eastern shore. As we zoom in right now across the peninsula, you can see some of those darker blue colors that are showing up from Williamsburg down towards Hampton. And we have seen that snow that's already been falling up across the peninsula right now. This is a live sky view right now up at Oyster Point in Newport News, and we have seen the snow already start to cover the ground there as we have gone through the past couple of hours. We've seen it start to accumulate on areas of the mulch and other areas. As we take a look at the eastern shore, we've got some more of that moderate snow as well that's been picking up in intensity, and we have seen it just within the past half hour or so start to accumulate on some of the marshy areas up around Wajapreek. And then down towards the south side, we just started seeing the snow work its way in here to downtown Norfolk. You can see back going west just a little bit, it starts to pick up a little bit more. And right now through our sky view here on top of the tower, which is just about 10 feet away from me, you can see that we do have the cloudy skies and we have seen that snow start to accumulate. In general, we're going for about 2 to 4 inches for much of Hampton Roads. There could be a little bullseye in a few spots, especially once you get down into areas of northeastern North Carolina. Notice back towards Raleigh here, we're looking at the potential of 4 to 8 inches of snow. So what can you expect as we go here through the evening? We're looking still at the cloudy skies. We're looking at some areas of snow through the next couple of hours. When I come back, we'll nail things down a little bit more, and I'll have much more on the rest of our forecast coming up.
Evan, thanks so much. Well, we're about an hour from the evening rush already. We're seeing snow on the roads. Ashley Smith is watching the traffic network for us. Hey, Ash.
Hey, Christina. Matter of fact, let's throw that weather index back onto the traffic network maps just so you can see what Evan was just showing you. That snow obviously farther out west, but now it's moving down 64 as well. We're just starting to see a few snowflakes here in Norfolk, as we just mentioned. So let's move back up the peninsula here. Wanted to show you 64 near Newman Road in Williamsburg. One of our cameras kind of way up in Williamsburg. And again, you can make out that snow. It's been snowing out there for a little while now, so it's certainly blanketing the grassy areas. Roads are still in pretty decent shape at this point, but of course, take your time. Just leave home early if you're heading out this afternoon. We certainly don't want you to get stuck in anything that you don't want to deal with. So we'll keep watching the roads for you, and we'll give you an update on traffic coming up later in the show. Guys?
Well, right now, HRT services are running as scheduled. We're still waiting to hear if they will activate their snow emergency plan. If that happens, services would be limited. Buses would only stop at stations with snowflakes on the signs. We'll keep you updated if those changes go into effect.
Snow is falling across the peninsula right now. 13 News Now reporter Nico Clemens is live in Newport News. It's really coming down.
Yeah, Janet, we have heavy snow and flurries falling fast here in Newport News. I can barely keep my eyes open. Obviously, it's nothing like we got 2 weeks ago. This is more of a wet snow, but it is sticking to the ground and the grass over here. It's sticking to the cars, but the roads, they're more wet than anything. I'm in Newport News on Jefferson Avenue, right around the corner from Public Works and their street maintenance team. We spoke to them earlier today. We were also in Williamsburg earlier today. The snow there started falling around 9 this morning. It stopped and then picked back up around 11:15, and then a little later here in Newport News. But as you can see in this video, it's not too bad. There's still what I would call a normal amount of traffic in both Newport News and Williamsburg, and in both cities. Crews treated the bridges, main roads yesterday. The snow plows, they're ready to go, and while we do not expect to get as much snow as we got 2 weeks ago, crews, they're prepared for just about anything. And I spoke to several people today, several drivers who've been out and about, and they're not letting this stop them from doing what they have to do. As you can see, there's a good amount of traffic here on the roads. Coming up later at 5 and 6, you'll hear from some of those drivers in both Newport News and Williamsburg. Live in Newport News, I'm Nico Clemens, 13 News Now.
Storm mode coverage takes us live to the Virginia Beach oceanfront. The rough weather is not stopping some businesses. They're open, in fact, welcoming customers today.
13 News Now reporter Allie Weatherton is live with why they're keeping the doors open.
Well, let's first talk about these conditions. Right now, it's not snowing at all. In fact, I haven't seen a flurry just yet, but people say they're ready for some snow. I want you to take a look behind me. You can see conditions aren't too bad right now. You can see it's pretty windy out. That's about it. And it's also pretty cold outside. But like you said, Christina, businesses are staying open. This afternoon, I saw several people get a head start on their snow preps. Sensations here, their crews put down bags of salt ahead of the snow. That store was open. So also was the Crepe Happens. It's a new business down here at the oceanfront. The owner there says it's been slow all day, but it's not stopping him from shutting his doors.
In order to be successful and get people here, you need to be open. It doesn't matter if it's, the weather, rainy season, snowy season, cold. I'm just going to be here.
Yeah, he's just going to be there until about 7 tonight. He says he's from Chicago and the snow doesn't bother him. So he says he's hoping for the snow. Live in Virginia Beach, Allie Weatherton, 13 News Now.
Well, we know any kind of bad weather could lead to power outages.
An update from Dominion Energy is next. Plus, we want to see your pictures. Tweet them to us. We're monitoring the hashtag 13 storm mode.
And staying safe on the roads, the one thing experts say you need to do if your car starts skidding. We're just getting started as 13 News Now continues in storm mode.
Leave to go on this deployment, ? If so, can you text or email to me, ?
That could be it too, is just.
Yeah, that's my first thought since it worked.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll look at a couple.
Our special storm mode coverage continues with a live look from the mobile weather lab. The big concern right now, the roads ahead of rush hour. Another big concern, keeping the lights on, of course. Dominion Energy crews are standing by, ready to respond.
Benita Billingsley Harris from Dominion. She's on the phone right now. Good afternoon, Benita.
Hello, how are you?
Doing fine. Glad for you to join us. How are the crews preparing?
My pleasure. Well, as you said, we are standing by. We're staffed up, gassed up, and monitoring the weather closely so our managers can adjust plans accordingly as we see where our crews are needed the most. But we are prepared and ready to respond if we have outages. At this point, we're glad to see that it's looking like light, fluffy snow that doesn't cause too many problems with our facilities. But if it does, our crews are ready to respond.
And we're talking last snow event, of course, fresh on everyone's mind. The wind was a big concern. We're obviously not expecting to see that this time around. But crews, are they're ready for anything that comes their way, right?
Absolutely. And there's always a couple surprises in each storm and something we learn from each storm. But we're prepared for whatever happens. We always prepare for the worst but hope for the best. One of the biggest concerns we have is, of course, everyone's health and safety. And a lot of times when we have weather like this, cars will slip on the roads and run into our poles. So we encourage folks to be careful out there on the roads. If you don't have to go out, stay safe and warm at home and enjoy the view from your window.
And Benita, we always like to remind people that, if they have an outage, they can't just assume that Dominion will know that immediately. They should report it, right?
Absolutely. Always report your outage by right from your smartphone at dominionenergy.com, or you can always call our call center as well at 1-866-DOM-HELP. All
right. Well, we thank you so much. Stay safe out there, and we appreciate your time.
Thanks for your coverage. Anytime.
Thank you, Benita. Well, another snow day for some kids in Hampton Roads. Other districts opted for an early dismissal, among them Virginia Beach Public Schools. Jacqueline Lee is live right now. Mixed reaction from parents so far, right, Jacqueline?
Yeah, it's been mixed. Some think it was a smart move by the school district. Others they don't really care. But I wanted to give you guys an update. It is now flurrying in Virginia Beach. I don't know if you guys can see because it's quite small, but in the last minute, flurries have been falling from the sky. It has happened here in Virginia Beach. Now, if you guys look behind me, there's a lot of sand and salt that has been put out on the streets. The city is trying to take every precaution just to make sure people can stay safe. And that's what the school district is doing today. They got out, students got out 3 hours early because they say that they want to be safe rather than sorry. Now, while some parents say that, they're happy about it or they're upset about it, kids, on the other hand, they all feel the same way.
I don't like the cold weather, but I like the snow.
Why?
Because you get to play in it and make snow angels, but I need help getting up because I don't know how to get up by myself.
Now, this has been a bit of a deja vu for parents. I mean, for the past 2 weeks when that blizzard hit us, there were a total of 6 school days that were canceled. The school district decided to make up that time by extending that first semester. Now, as for today, no one will have to make up the 3 hours that were lost. And the school district says that they will be monitoring the forecast as well as the road conditions to see if school will be canceled for tomorrow. Live in Virginia Beach, Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.
All right, flakes falling in Virginia Beach, or flurries. Right now, more than 50 closings and delays are posted on the 13 News Now app. We'll keep them scrolling at the bottom of your screen. All right, people across Virginia are sharing pictures of their snow day on social media.
And we always love that. 13 News Now's Brian Farrell joins us with a look at what you've sent. Brian.
Yeah, we are starting to get a few in from the Hampton Roads area because obviously we haven't seen too much throughout the day. A few flurries earlier. We have some other ones from Virginia, but we are going to start off locally here. This one coming to us from the Lightfoot area up there in James City County. You can see the tree there, a little bit of snow on the ground there. We are, of course, asking people to use hashtag 13 storm mode. That will get it on our radar, and you may see it here on air and online. Right now, this one coming in from VDOT Hampton Roads of a picture actually out in the Emporia area. This is a couple of the plows that are out there, and they do remind people, you know, wherever you are in Virginia, be safe out there. Give these plows or spreaders plenty of extra space to work. One more here. This one's coming from the Richmond area. Very nice picture there of the river lofts on Tobacco Row. Hope everyone is staying #warm, #snow, snowfall, a lot there. And of course, we'll end with a little video, because who doesn't like a French bulldog and some shenanigans in the snow? This one coming in, and he is, it says French bulldog. Is it an English bulldog? They're telling me it says French bulldog. Old English bulldog, French bulldog, all bulldogs. How about that? I guess I didn't look closely enough at that. Anyway, remember, you can share
the dogs.
Exactly. You can share your pictures with us by emailing them to us at shareit@13newsnow.com. You also can use the Share It feature that is on our full desktop website, and we do have that in our app. If you tweet, remember, share them on Facebook too. Use that hashtag 13stormmode. Evan?
Yes, this show definitely going to the dogs out there this afternoon. And we have seen the snow start to fall across much of Hampton Roads. A little bit of a break right now back through Richmond towards Emporia. But you can see this band of more moderate snow. And this is one of the areas that we could see a little bit of a bullseye setting up. Also possibly down here across northeastern North Carolina, where we started to see some of that snow change, or that rain start to change over to snow. We had that rain earlier as temperatures were above freezing. But now the temperatures are dropping with that evaporational cooling. We've seen some of that snow start to change over. As we zoom in across parts of the peninsula again, where we've got some of these darker blues, that's where we're seeing some more of that moderate snow from Grafton down towards Menchville, Hilton Village, over towards Pocosin. Newport News starts to lessen up a little bit once you get in northern Gloucester County, but southern Gloucester County around Mobjack Bay and Matthews got it picking up in intensity. Same thing over across the eastern shore. South side, Suffolk now getting that snow just starting to move into parts of Norfolk, Chesapeake, and Virginia Beach, and down into areas of northeastern North Carolina. So through the evening, we're continuing to look for the snow working its way south and east. And several of the models have been calling for like this little intense band to set up. Some of them have been a little bit closer to south side, some down here across northeastern North Carolina. So we'll be watching that even here through 7 o'clock. By about 9, a lot of the snow will start to wind down, although it'll last a little bit longer till about midnight or so down across eastern North Carolina. And by tomorrow morning, any snow that is out there will be slow to go away, as temperatures will be well below freezing. But as we get into the afternoon, temperatures back up above freezing into the 40s, and we've got 50s and 60s in the extended forecast. Now, Jeff has been analyzing all the computer models, getting the latest information. What kind of snowfall totals are we looking at, Jeff?
All right, well, we're going to up things. Remember yesterday we were talking about the storm maybe getting offshore and intensifying a little bit. And as you just mentioned, that little area, you know, right near the coastline, maybe picking up a little bit more. So we have upped it just a tiny bit. Instead of 1 to 3, we're going to say 2 to 4 now. Some areas will be on the low end, some on the high end. But if that storm continues to strengthen, it's not out of the question that somewhere right along the coastline could end up with even a little bit more than that. But as we said yesterday, it doesn't matter whether you get an inch or 2 or whether you get 3 or 4. It's going to be the same exact conditions on the roadways. We're going to have the same types of problems. Hopefully everybody's been well prepared. Now, inland areas, it is already starting to ease up a little bit. Back near South Boston and Farmville already have reports of about 6 inches on the ground there. Near Raleigh, reports of around 6 or 7. So again, central parts of Virginia, North Carolina getting hit a lot harder than us. We're going to continue, however, to see that snow, as you just mentioned, through the evening hours into the early overnight and then gradually tapering off. Evan?
That's right, and we are seeing the snow on all of our Skyview cameras. This is up in the eastern shore, and you can see already some snow starting to show up here on the roof at the Island House Restaurant and Marina. 29 degrees, temperatures continuing to drop. We were into the mid-30s earlier today, but as that snow started to fall and evaporate, it cools the atmosphere, so we're now down to 29 degrees. And winds are a little gusty along the coastline, north at 16, giving us a wind chill of 17 degrees. And here's a look at those other temperatures, still above freezing across parts of northeastern North Carolina, but as that snow works its way southward, we will see those temperatures drop as well. So for tonight, 20 degrees, snow tapering off. Likely issues with those roadways, especially as that snow continues to fall, working its way south side into northeastern North Carolina. 39 tomorrow, mostly sunny, blustery and cold. 26 tomorrow night. Look what happens by Friday. 52 degrees, much milder, with westerly winds at 7 to 14 miles per hour. And temperatures go up even more this weekend. 57 Saturday and Sunday, and 60 on Monday. And then another storm will move in. A rainstorm coming in into Tuesday with a chance of some showers. 59 degrees, 54 by Wednesday.
All right, well, right now, some sidewalks and streets are treated to keep you safe.
The reason why cities put salt down when they did.
And you will have to find a way to clear the snow from the sidewalks in front of your home or business. Next, we break down when it needs to be done throughout Hampton Roads.
Back live in Hampton as the snow continues to fall. Remember, we're monitoring the hashtag 13 storm mode. So when it stops snowing, how long do you have to get rid of it?
All right, the answer to that depends on what city you live in. Beach residents have 6 hours to shovel after the last flake falls. Norfolk, that window is tighter, just 3 hours. Same story in Hampton. And Newport News, you have 5 daylight hours to clear sidewalks. If you don't follow the rules, you could get a ticket. By the way, Chesapeake does not have any snow removal rules. All right, when it's time to dig out, take it easy, give yourself a break, leave that big meal on the table before or after picking up the shovel. And speaking of the experts, the experts say to use a smaller shovel or at least a lighter one. If you're one of the few people in Hampton Roads to own a snow blower, that's even better. And the most important thing here is listen to your body and slow down if you're taking on too much.
And this powerful winter storm stretches for more than 1,000 miles. Much of the East Coast is dealing with some form of the winter weather right now. This was the scene for travelers across the country. A semi outside of Dallas sliding out of control before slamming into a light post. Wow. Entire interstates shut down after the South plunges into a deep freeze. In North Carolina, crews are preparing as the storm barrels through the mid-Atlantic.
Oh, God.
We're preparing now, and we want to urge everyone to do the same.
Shocking images here. Well, North Carolina Highway Patrol tweeted this picture out. They say they're already dealing with several crashes across the state. They're asking drivers to please take it easy, slow down, and use caution.
Well, cleanup is underway in Suffolk right now already. A closer look at how people are lending a helping hand to keep the city up and running. And the organizations meant to help people in need are seeing a lot of people today, how they are making sure everyone gets what they need.
To me, yeah.
Okay, good. So Brown, you.
There's no seat.
Can you hear me? Test 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're here in downtown.
News Now begins in storm mode.
Storm mode coverage continues at 3:30 with live pictures from Newport News.
Yeah, the snow is falling at City Center. Our team of weather experts is busy tracking the storm.
While it's not as strong as the last one, it could cause some big problems. Evan's live outside right now. Evan.
That's right. We are watching that snow that's been falling here in downtown Norfolk for about, say, half an hour or so. Started just around the 3 o'clock hour. And you can see on radar that we do have that snow that's falling through much of the air. And it's already started to pick up and fill in intensity down across areas of northeastern North Carolina as well. As we zoom in up across the peninsula right now, you can see that blue that is right there around Hampton. That's some of the heavier snow that's been falling also the east end of Newport News and up towards Menchville. So we've got the snow that's fallen up across the peninsula. Here's another look. This is up in Hampton at the Virginia Air and Space Center. And you can already see some of the snow that's setting up there right along the grassy surfaces. Roads not looking too bad, but even here in Norfolk, we've seen some of the snow start to accumulate on tops of the cars. As we take a look up across the eastern shore, some of the darker blue that's been falling there as well, indicating some more of that moderate snow. We've seen that up around the Island House Restaurant and Marina just over the past half hour. We've seen that start to increase as well. As we move to the south side, that's where we have seen a little bit less in the amounts of snow. Right now, we're seeing just just a few areas of some light snow here through parts of downtown Norfolk, but as you head back inland to areas of Suffolk, that darker blue once again indicates some of that heavier snow that's fallen. And you can see that's what it looks like here across parts of downtown Norfolk as well. As far as the snowfall amounts, again, we've kept it at around 2 to 4 inches for much of Hampton Roads. Once you get back inland, back through central Virginia, we're looking at around 3 to 6, and even down towards Raleigh, we're looking at 4 to 8 inches of snow. And we still think that somewhere along the coastline, there'll be this bullseye that sets up. So that's something that we'll be watching very closely. So as we go here through the evening hours, we're looking at, again, snow continuing right through 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and even towards 10 o'clock. Even though Futurecast is only calling for about a 20% chance of snow, it'll be winding down across the south side, but it'll still continue to about 11 o'clock or midnight down in northeastern North Carolina. So again, we are watching the snow start to fall through the south side, and it'll continue for the next several hours. Janet?
All right, Evan, thank you. Well, more from downtown Norfolk. It's not just the roads we're worried about with the winter weather. Sidewalks can also be dangerous. 13 News Now reporter Ernie LeBeau joins us live in Norfolk with some steps you can take to avoid a fall.
That's right, Janet. As you said, we're here in downtown Norfolk where you can see the snow really trying to come or starting to come down now. But what I want to draw your attention to is actually here on the ground. Take a look. You can see salt already spread along the sidewalk here, and you'll see this all along downtown along sidewalks, especially in front of businesses like this one, Cafe Stella here. And this is really to prevent that snow from accumulating and freezing on the ground, and also to prevent people from slipping and falling. Now, earlier today we headed to Taylor's Do It Center in Norfolk, and we saw people there scrambling. Well, like I said earlier today, we did see some people at Taylor's Do It Center scrambling to pick up that salt, pick up those shovels, and really just kind of treat not only their driveways, but their neighbors, walkways, and also in front of their businesses. And one of the managers I spoke to there said that it's important, very, very important that you treat these areas before this snow really starts coming down and you know that people are walking on it. Take a listen.
It's very important to stay safe, especially seniors. They really shouldn't be out.
And coming up at 4:30, I'll have some more tips on to keep you safe out here in this snow if you have to be out. And that's the latest here in downtown Norfolk. I'm Ernie LeBeau, 13 News Now.
Well, traffic is picking up and conditions are only getting worse.
All right, let's check back in with Ashley.
Yeah, guys, you know, we're 27 minutes away from what we typically call the afternoon rush hour. But for those that are out and about on the roads this afternoon, it's already kind of an issue in a few spots, considering that snow has really crept over the peninsula. It's now on the south side now, so you can see how the roads are being blanketed by this snow moving through the area. So I'm keeping a very close eye on the roads for you. Here's a look in Williamsburg. I was just checking cameras on 64, not too far from Colonial Parkway, and it looks like right here, it looks like someone may have lost control of their car and skidded off of the roadway. So no, this is not the blizzard we had 2 weeks ago, but it is still very much an issue on the roads. It's still compromised for sure. As the snow comes down, it is going to be an issue out there. So be careful, take your time, leave home early if you have to get somewhere on time. And as you can see, traffic is slowly moving past that scene. So again, we just ask you to proceed with caution. Another issue, especially around the bridges and tunnels this afternoon, is this low visibility because the snow is coming down. So VDOT has issued a weather advisory at the HRBT, as you can see, for obvious reasons, and at the Monitor Merrimack. Doesn't mean any lanes are closed. We just ask you again to proceed with caution. We're going to keep a very close eye on the roads this afternoon, and we will give you updates throughout the afternoon rush hour. Guys?
All right. If you are navigating the roads, safety always comes first.
Yeah, so what's the best thing to do when the roads are slick? Do you need to kick your ride into a four-wheel drive? Ashley is back to verify this one.
All right, well, it all comes down to the wheel systems here. Front wheel drive and rear wheel drive work just like how they sound, but the power from the engine actually goes to those wheels only. So here's the question here. What about four-wheel and all-wheel drive? Well, we found out. In four-wheel drive, the engine will power all of the wheels. Now that's different from all-wheel drive. That's where the car itself senses the conditions on the road and figures out which tires to power to give you the best traction. So, which one is best on icy streets? The Verified team went to the people who get you out of a ditch: AAA, Jiffy Lube, and the National Safety Council.
If you have to be out, the best car to drive would either be a four-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive. Front-wheel drive does give you a little bit better control than rear wheel because the weight's on top of the drive wheels. But if you're going to be out, all-wheel and four-wheel is the best way to go.
Jiffy Lube and the National Safety Council agree. So we can verify all-wheel and four-wheel are better to get you going in the ice and snow. All right, there you go. Now keep that in mind. But the NSC warns, do not get overconfident on the roads. Four-wheel drive won't give you better steering traction, or it will help you stop faster. Or will it help you stop faster, I should say. So just things for you to keep in mind as that snow continues to fall across the area. And if you have something you want us to verify, make sure you let us know. Email verify@13newsnow.com or reach out to us on Facebook and Twitter. Janet?
Okay, thank you. Well, more tips for driving in the snow and ice. The first is increase your following distance to allow plenty of time to stop. Accelerate and brake slowly and try not to make any sudden movements. And the third and last tip is if you find yourself in a skid, stay calm and steer into it.
Well, we've been telling you this all afternoon. The snow could make things messy for the evening commute. During the last snowstorm, we talked to experts about what to do if you get stuck. Scott Mitchell is the fleet operations manager for AAA Tidewater. He says you can rock your car back and forth using drive and reverse, but there's a proper way to do it.
Straighten the wheels, and you want to use a rocking method forward and backwards at low speed. You do not want to gun the tires and let them spin. That's not going to give you any traction.
Here's something else that's very important. You don't want to let a non-professional attach a chain to your car. It could cause serious damage. What might get you out is digging snow and ice away from the tires. If that fails, put something underneath the tires like floor mats. If you still can't get out, tow companies and AAA are out in full force today to help. They just ask for patience and for people to stay off the roads if possible.
All right, most of the areas in Hampton Roads are getting some snow. Some cities still waiting for what's ahead. Next, we speak to Virginia Beach about what they've done to prepare. And North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper issued a warning to North Carolina residents, the latest on the Tar Heels response to the snow.
I got to talk for that much? Good Lord. Well, I really had to pour it on. Okay, no problem. Thank you so much. Sure.
What did you want to do? Okay, check 1 2, check 1 2. Hello. I just passed the Ahoskie exit. Okay, I'm gonna need to pull over to turn it down.
Okay, mic check.
Can you hear me talking into the microphone, which is what I'm doing right now, into the microphone?
All right, welcome back. Virginia Beach racked up some of the highest snow totals during the blizzard, so you can imagine that there were many lessons learned.
Joining us on the phone is Drew Langford from Virginia Beach Public Works. What is your team doing right now to prepare for the storm, Drew?
Well, they actually started last night at midnight and went out. Since there wasn't a whole lot of precipitation last night, they went on out and treated the bridges, ramps, and overpasses. We called in crews and started going with our 12-hour shifts this morning at 6:30. And I can tell you right now, as we speak, I'm seeing the first snowflakes here in Virginia Beach. I think it's just starting to come here. But they've been going out treating, particularly today, this afternoon, they're treating some of the major intersections and areas where we're expecting heavy traffic, during rush hour. We're going to continue the 12-hour shifts at least through tomorrow, unless the forecast changes drastically. But right now, we're just trying to treat roads and everything and be ready for some of the ice.
All right, in terms of plowing, is that something you won't do unless you get at least, 2 inches or so?
But we'd like about 2 inches at least before you can plow. Otherwise, we're really tearing up the blade and the road.
Let's talk about any message to the viewers tonight. I know the storm is just starting in Virginia Beach. The snow's just starting over there. What would you like our viewers to know, and any warnings you have for them?
I think, and y'all have been saying some of this yourselves. I mean, I think we say it most of the storms. If you don't need to be out here, it's good to stay home. I mean, we've been checking today. I mean, we're already getting high winds. Even if we get rain and sleet, high winds are going to make it that much tougher, particularly, again, going back to the bridges and overpasses, they freeze over much, much quicker when there's, winds over 25 miles an hour.
Right.
So that's going to make it more difficult. And plus, if we're getting the brunt of the storm here after sundown, that makes it a little more treacherous out there. So, if you've got to be out, please give these trucks plenty of room. I rode on one of them last week, and I was amazed how many people would get right up behind us or go right around and hit the brakes. And they need some room to get do their spreading. And quite frankly, we can do a lot better job the less traffic there is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Drew, we appreciate you taking some time to talk with us, and we wish you luck.
I appreciate you getting the message out. We've all got our shoes and socks on, so we're ready.
All right, good. Thank you.
All right, time now to check in with Brian Smith. He's live in the Mobile Weather Lab. Brian, where are you at? What are you seeing?
I am 58 westbound, headed towards less than 20 miles from Franklin, Virginia. I saw a distinct difference going through Suffolk along 58, and then all of a sudden the road was fairly clear to patches of snow here and there. So as everybody's been saying, please be careful out there. Allow for braking distance. You can see there's coating of snow on the sides, on the grassy areas, but you can start seeing developing on the road itself. You see there's a semi in front of me. I'm giving it plenty of distance, but if you can, slow up on the brakes, give yourself distance, and this is one of the few times of the day where it's okay to be defensive. It's not the end of the world to be defensive in this case when it comes to driving.
Absolutely. All right, Brian, be safe out there, and we appreciate the update. 58, almost to Franklin, heading westbound. Well, the weather is also impacting local airports. We're going to check.
All right, Janet, let's head over back to the traffic network and, of course, 13newsnow.com/traffic as well. We've been keeping an eye on any delays, departures, or diversions over at the airport. So let's start with Norfolk International. As the snow moves in, we're continuing to update any air flights, or any flights, I should say, moving in and out of the area that may be canceled, delayed, or diverted. Right now, at Norfolk International, we have 2 departures and 2 arrivals that have already been canceled, 4 departures and 7 arrivals that have been delayed. And at this point, no flights diverted at Norfolk International, but that could change at any moment. Now we head over to Newport News Williamsburg International Airport. 5 departures and 5 arrivals have been canceled, 6 departures and 2 arrivals delayed, and 1 arrival has been diverted from Newport News Williamsburg International. And of course, all of this is because of the snowfall that's moving into the area. Let's actually head back here really quickly. Want to remind you to head over to 13newsnow.com and make sure you click on the traffic tab, and from there click airport status. We do want you to check your status before you head out the door. You can also download our free app as well, and you can check things there too. But as I move out of the way here, meteorologist Evan Stewart has been working very hard to keep the forecast up to the moment. So let's check in with him and see what's going to move out of the area. Hey, Evan.
Thank you very much, Ashley. That's right. We have been tracking that snow. You showed it very nicely on the traffic maps, how a lot of the area was covered in white. That's an indication of the snow on the ground, and that's what we're seeing here with this band stretching from the eastern shore down through Southside into northeastern North Carolina, that darker blue. That's where we see some of the more intense snow, but there are some breaks, some drier air working its way in. So things are starting to wind down back through central Virginia. Still have some snow to deal with along southern portions of 95 as you cross the state line into northeastern North Carolina. There's that slow progress off towards the east. I've gotten a few messages from people in southern Virginia Beach and southern Chesapeake saying, where's the snow? Well, it's almost there. And I've gotten some reports of some snow right now out along the Virginia Beach ocean front. We'll zoom in once again across the peninsula. Lighter amounts now up in Williamsburg, indicated by the brighter colors, the darker blues through Hampton and Newport News. That's where we've got some of that heavier snow working its way in. Same thing up across the middle peninsula and the eastern shore, that band of heavier snow right here from Onancock down towards Cape Charles. And through Southside, starting to pick up here through downtown Norfolk, Portsmouth, northern Chesapeake, western branch, northern Virginia Beach, and especially back through areas of Suffolk. And down across northeastern North Carolina, just a couple of snow showers and mixing with and changing over to rain down towards Manteo. So as we go through the evening, still looking at that snow to start to wind down. A lot of the models are still calling for this one little band somewhere here working its way south and east right now, located right through here, and that could dump a little bit more in a few isolated spots through the next couple of hours. But notice by 11 o'clock, things really winding down in most areas, lingering a little bit longer down across eastern North Carolina. So by 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, everything will clear out, and we're looking at some clearing skies as we go through the day on Thursday. Now, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lawson has been checking snow totals around the region and how that might impact some of our snow forecast numbers as well.
All righty, Evan, let's take a look at it. First of all, you can see that we have the snow, as you've been pointing out, in a couple of different bands working their way through. But let's take a look at some of the reports we've been getting. Disputana up there in Prince George County, 1.5 inches of snow. That's on the east side there of Chester. On the west side of Chester in Chesterfield, western Chesterfield County, 3 inches of snow. You go even west of there, Amelia Courthouse area, 5.5 inches. Down near Halifax, roughly 5 inches down there. And once you get into North Carolina, where we had talked about that bullseye, you can really see the difference in how right across Raleigh and Durham sort of is the dividing line. The east side there around Wake Forest, 2 inches. You go west, though, of Durham over toward Alamance County, Graham, and they have 7.5 inches of snow. So we are talking about a few pockets that set up where we get some heavier precipitation. Yesterday we were saying 1 to 3. And maybe a little more if the storm strengthens. We're starting to see some signs of that. So both will probably be okay. If we had kept the 1 to 3, I think it would have verified in many locations. Might have been wrong in a few. So we're going to up it just an inch and call for 2 to 4 inches with the possibility, it's not terribly likely, but I'd say there's at least a 1 in 3 chance that we get a 4 or 5 inch amount somewhere in a very small area right near the coastline as that storm really gets going. But again, the heaviest amounts definitely back in towards central areas of Virginia. Evan?
Thanks, Jeff. And we are starting to see some of that snow out along the Virginia Beach oceanfront. Every once in a while, you can see a snowflake or two flying past the camera. So we expect here, as that heavier band works its way eastward, that we'll start to see some snow accumulating on the ground out along the oceanfront as well. Our DQ camera at 17th and Atlantic. 28 degrees outside right now. Northerly winds at 14. So the winds are stronger along the coastline, and that's giving us a wind chill now of 17. You can certainly feel it as you go outside. Still above freezing in some areas across northeastern North Carolina, where we still see it falling as rain. But as the rain starts to evaporate, it'll pull in some colder air, so we'll likely see the rain changing over to snow across northeastern North Carolina as well. So later tonight, snow tapering off, 20 degrees. Winds out of the north, 12 to 25, gusting up to 30. And we are looking at some slick spots on the roads, not just tonight, but into tomorrow morning. By the afternoon, upper 30s to around 40, mostly sunny skies. 26 tomorrow night, mainly clear and cold again. And Friday, mostly sunny, much warmer, 52 degrees, above normal, as a matter of fact, with westerly winds at 7 to 14 miles per hour. And the temperatures continue to go up. Saturday, 57, 57 Sunday, a few more clouds on Monday, 60. And we're looking at a chance for some showers on Tuesday as another cold front moves through, but not an Arctic blast, as temperatures by Wednesday will only be around 54 degrees. Christina.
Evan, thank you so much. Well, NCDOT is also making preparations for the snow. Crews starting working 2 days ago in many parts of the state. As of yesterday morning, the agency says it had 566 employees, 337 trucks, and 43 contract trucks on the roads. They also say they've put down more than 1 million gallons of brine. Meanwhile, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper has declared a statewide emergency. He's advising citizens to stay off the road. In addition to DOT workers, troopers, and highway patrol officers are standing by to help.
Cold temperatures tonight mean that tomorrow morning's commute will be dangerous, so watch out for that. But the good news is that the temperatures are expected to climb above freezing tomorrow and continue warming through the weekend. So hopefully most of the effects of this storm will melt away a lot earlier than the last storm.
Crews will begin plowing as soon as there is enough snow on the roads, and that usually means about 1 to 2 inches. And as the snow comes towards us, yet again, many are happy to get another day off from work or school.
But for those without shelter, it's very dangerous. 13 News Now reporter Megan Puryear shows us how local shelters are handling the weather.
Janet and Christina, with temperatures dropping and snow like this beginning to fall down, these conditions are life-altering for those without a home. And shelters like Union Mission Ministries are already at capacity right now. And the ministry doesn't just provide a place to sleep, but they have classes, food, and job programs too. And in the aftermath of last week's storm, the mission is facing shortages. Public Relations Director Linda Jones says what they need most right now is food.
400 people in our shelters every night. And of course, more and more people are calling, looking for shelter. So, you know, our needs tend to rise, not just with the amount of people, but we have to feed them. So we have always have a great need for food.
Now, if the city of Norfolk calls for a state of emergency, the shelter has to let more people in, but for now it's full. Volunteers are always needed, and Union Mission is asking for any donations you can spare. They even have a drop-off location where you can bring gently used items. Now, if you want to drop something off, the mission is open 24/7. And for more information about volunteering, visit 13newsnow.com. Megan Puryear, 13 News Now.
All right, Brian Farrell is back with more viewer pictures. And Brian, how are things looking?
I think we saw the picture out there in Norfolk, and of course things across the area are starting to pile up just a little bit. We'll take a look and start over in Smithfield. Carrie sent us this one, says snow-covered roads and yards here in Smithfield. Remember, all important, hashtag 13 storm mode. That way puts it on our radar and we'll see what people are sharing. Lori from Denby shared this picture of her neighborhood. One picture here from Doug Weeder. He is our news director. We had a bunch of people, our teammates here, who were out of state and heading back today, so they were able to see some of the progress of the storm as it was moving across. And Doug had said snow totals appear to be picking up as we approach Richmond. Seen several VDOT trucks plowing and treating I-64. Remember, if you do see those trucks, stay out of the way and let them safely do their jobs and the crews that are with them. Kelly says snowing steadily in Denby. One more here from a woman in Tina Giddens, bringing beauty to Williamsburg. Again, hashtag 13 storm mode. You can share all those pictures with us, whether you are on social media or if you have an email address or email, you can send it to share it at 13newsnow.com.
All right, when the roads start to get back to normal, potholes will start popping up. What you need to know about reporting the road problem. And snow landed in Williamsburg, first in Hampton Roads, the latest conditions there. And VDOT crews started prepping the roads yesterday. We spoke to the agency on how they are dealing with the wintry mess.
News rather, and also in Williamsburg, where I was earlier. I'm in Newport News on Jefferson Avenue, right around the corner from Newport Street Main. You good? You know when to stand by.
As always.
All right, snow has been falling for some time over portions of North Carolina. Ashley Daly with our sister station, WCNC, has a look at conditions in Charlotte.
Here in Charlotte, the snow has been falling since the early morning hours. Now, original expectations were that we'd get about 2 to 4 inches of snow, but take a look at the ground right here. You can see we're already at about 4 inches. And as you can see around me, snow is still falling. Now, like other parts of the country, for any of those who had to work today here in the Charlotte area, tonight's commute is likely going to be pretty messy and dangerous. Of course, like everywhere else, too, they're asking everyone here to stay off the roads. That's the latest in Charlotte. Now back to you.
All right, thank you. Well, when the snow melts, potholes, they'll be a problem. So what should you do if you find one on your road? Well, there are a few things to remember. The first is if the street is maintained by the city, you need to file a report with that city. If it's maintained by the state, you need to file a report with VDOT, like the interstates if you're driving around. If you need to report it to VDOT, you can reach them at the information on your screen right now. All right, one person is dead after a crash in Gloucester County. State troopers are now investigating. According to state police, a Jeep ran off Ware Neck Road in Gloucester around 8 o'clock this morning and hit several trees. The driver, 58-year-old Tom Gilly, was taken to the hospital where he died, and we're told the crash is not weather-related. And that's all we have for you today at 3. 13 News Now at 4 starts now. Winter storm warnings are in effect as a second winter storm sweeps into Hampton Roads.
From snowfall totals to freezing temperatures to dangerous winds, we're tracking the winter weather in storm mode.
Round 2 of snowfall here in Hampton Roads. We're live on the peninsula with the conditions.
And some people aren't letting the snow slow them down.
Many people are not relaxing here at the ocean front, but that doesn't mean businesses aren't open. Hear why some are refusing to shut their doors.
The news at 4 starts now.
13 News Now begins in storm mode.
Virginia is dealing with its second snowstorm in just 2 weeks. Tonight, snow started piling up near Roanoke earlier today.
And here at home, people have started laying down salt, trying to keep their homes safe. Good evening, everyone. I'm Regina Mobley.
And I'm Janet Roach. Thank you for joining us on the storm mode edition of 13 News Now at 4. The winter storm warnings and advisories will last for the next several hours.
So let's go outside with meteorologist Evan Stewart, who is tracking the conditions.
That's right. We are looking at temperatures now that are in the 20s for much of Hampton Roads. 28 degrees in Norfolk. It's 28 in Williamsburg, 27 in Franklin. You can see it's 33 in Elizabeth City, and temperature looks like it's 27. I can't tell. We'll get that banner off the screen for you in a moment. There we go. 37 degrees down in Edenton and 26 in Melfa up on the eastern shore. Now, as we take a look at the radar and across the area right now, we're still seeing that snow through much of Hampton Roads. We're seeing some more of that moderate snow, again, that band of some of the brighter blues that stretch from the eastern shore down through northeastern North Carolina. So again, as we go through the next several hours, we're looking at those temperatures that'll hold steady right around the mid-20s for now, going down to 25 degrees as we get here towards 11 o'clock. So as we go back to the radar, what you'll notice is that temperatures are going to be holding steady, and we're looking at readings over the next several hours again, and the snow continuing as we go through about 9, 10 o'clock, and we'll notice those readings over the next several hours dropping as well. As far as the rainfall, the snowfall totals that we've seen across the area, they've been ranging generally from about a dusting to a half inch, in some spots a little bit more off towards the north. We'll take a look at some more of those snowfall totals coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Evan, thank you. Well, one of the first places the snow started falling in Hampton Roads was Williamsburg, then Newport News. Road crews are working hard to keep the streets clear. 13 News Now reporter Nico Clemens has visited different spots around the area. And Nico, it was really coming down.
Yeah, the snow just hits you in the face. It's like a cold rain because thankfully it's not sticking that much, at least on the roads. But you can see here on the grass, it's accumulated here on the grass and even on the cars. But I'm here in Newport News, right around the corner from Public Works, where I spoke with their street maintenance team earlier today. I was in Williamsburg earlier today. It's really like a wet commute in both cities. Again, the snow not sticking as much on the roadways. Crews, they're prepared for just about anything we get, whether that be 1 inch or 2 inches or 5 inches. They got their snow plows ready to go. They pre-treated those roads yesterday, went out there earlier again today, and they did everything like they did just 2 weeks ago. So I was out here again in Newport News and Williamsburg, and I spoke with several people, and they said, well, hey, the snow we had 2 weeks ago, it's nothing like what we're getting today. And they're right. So coming up at 5 and 6, you'll hear from some of those drivers. They'll tell you what their snow experience has been like today here in Newport News and Williamsburg. Live in Newport News, I'm Nico Clemens, 13 News Now.
Thanks, Nico. We have team coverage of the storm. The snow has started falling near the Virginia Beach oceanfront, but that isn't stopping local business owners from opening their doors to customers. 13 News Now reporter Allie Weatherton is live at the beach. What's the story out there this evening?
Hey, Regina, in the last 15 or 20 minutes, these flakes have just started to come down, and they're coming down
awfully fast. The wind is also picking up too. I want you to take a look at the beach though. You can see the snow is actually starting to lay on the sand. It doesn't look like it's starting to lay on the boardwalk though, but this weather is not stopping business owners from staying open. This afternoon, I saw several people get a head start on their snow preps. Sensations crews put together bags of salt to get down the snow. Now that store was opened and so was Creep Happens. It's a new business down here at the oceanfront. Now the owner tells me he's from Chicago and used to the snow, and he's not closing until at least 6 tonight.
Today it's just nobody. When you go outside and look down the streets, it looks like a ghost town.
Now coming up tonight at 5 on 13 News Now, hear from a business owner who had to stop his operations due to these conditions. Live in Virginia Beach, Allie Weatherton, 13 News Now.
VDOT is also pre-treating the roads. The agency used its entire Hampton Roads winter budget earlier this month, but officials are tapping into other funds to respond to the storm. 13 News Now reporter Elise Brown met up with some VDOT workers who are keeping the roads safe.
For 21 years, Brian Owens has helped keep Hampton Roads safe.
It's not supposed to be a lot of snow, so we'll keep it down about an inch.
Doing his part as a VDOT operator.
I guess a sense of accomplishment, getting people back on their daily lives is what makes us keep doing it.
Owens and his fellow VDOT employees are ready to tackle snow.
It's a big team, all the way from top to the bottom.
He's checking his truck before he hits the road.
We're checking these pins to make sure they're in and secure.
Crews started pre-treating roads Monday. Early this morning, trucks filled up with salt and waited on the sides of highways for the go-ahead.
Then once we get out there and run our routes, we just keep going, and when it slushes, just remove it from the road. Then everything becomes passable, and then we can just do ice watch after that.
VDOT not alone on the roads. They hire crews to help out.
So we have contractors that work the interstates, those folks who are plowing the interstates during the storm. And then, of course, we have all of our VDOT crews. They are working other state-maintained roads.
Owens just has a simple ask.
Make sure this is clean.
Give crews space to do their jobs. Stay back at least 100 feet and don't pass them.
Because we just want to get the work done safely for everybody. You know, we have a family to go home to.
Elise Brown, 13 News Now.
Well, we're keeping a close eye on traffic. The falling snow could make the evening rush hour a big mess. 13 News Now reporter Brian Smith, he's live on Route 58 headed towards Cortland. And Brian, a little while ago, it was really coming down. I imagine it's just getting even more white out there.
Well, actually, Janet, it's steady at times. I mentioned the fact earlier, Crystal Harper and I had gone out where I'm going towards now, Franklin and Cortland, and it wasn't as bad. Then it started to pick up. Then on my second time out here, it's gotten progressively worse in certain areas. I went through Suffolk earlier. As you can see, one of the plow trucks, one of them was a dump truck that was passing by. Going there. I've seen several plow trucks along the way. You know, some were dumping some sand occasionally, but as you can see, it seems nice in areas, but you can see there's a light dusting in certain areas. Don't be deceived by the surfaces. I've slowed down easily 10 miles to 15 miles per hour. Others, as you can see, the truck passing by me in the left lane are going a little faster. Take precautions. Take your time. There's no need to be in any rush. The snow has picked up at times. Be safe. There's really no need to rush anywhere, but definitely crews are out here. You know, we noticed whether or not it had been treated or not. They had dropped some. It looks like my second time around along Route 58, but it's starting to stick in areas. So, you know, drivers, take your time. You don't necessarily need four-wheel drive right now, obviously, but it can be slick in places. I crossed a bridge pass at one point, and you can see there's a little substantial slush kind of surface. So, but we'll keep you posted. I'll keep heading further west. Live from near Franklin County, Brian Smith, 13 News Now.
Brian, thanks so much. Let's take a wider look at the traffic situation around the area. The traffic network map showing lots of red out there, and it's not just because of the snow out there. As you can see, that's affecting most of Hampton Roads. It's the car accidents that we're starting to see because of that snow. This is a live look at I-64, the westbound lanes near J. Clyde Morris Boulevard. And we are told a Virginia State Trooper was hit in his patrol car. So you're looking at that accident right there. Traffic down to 2 open lanes there. You can see traffic being detoured, and pretty much accidents and fog also causing a little bit of an issue there. I-64 at the HRBT, you can see heavy fog there. So we can't say this enough, be extra cautious as you head out the door for your evening commute. Here's a live look once again at the traffic network map. That red, lots of it on the maps. So heed those warnings, drive slow and be careful. It's just going to get messier out there. Janet.
All right, thank you, Christina. Well, students around Hampton Roads missed more class time thanks to today's storm. Next, see how families are handling the latest snow day.
And the snowfall is picking up. This is a live look from our sky view at Nauticus, where you can barely see over the Elizabeth River because of the blustery conditions. Our team of meteorologists have the latest on the storm. Well, this latest round of snow led to more school cancellations. You can see the list scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
Well, some districts that stayed open released students early, like Virginia Beach. And that's where 13 News Now reporter Jacqueline Lee is live. And Jacqueline, school officials were concerned about getting kids home safely.
Yeah, Janet, they said they'd rather be safe than sorry. I mean, guys, take a look at all the snow that's falling. It really picked up in the past half an hour. I mean, if you guys take a look down here, you got a nice little layer. Now, this is like deja vu for a lot of parents after we had that storm that happened 2 weeks ago. In Virginia Beach, a total of 6 school days were canceled. Now, Dr. Aaron Spence, the superintendent, says it's never an easy decision to cancel school. He just sent out this video addressing anxious parents who want to know whether or not school will be canceled in the future. Take a listen.
It's not an easy call to close school. We're always paying careful attention to the weather, and the timing can be really difficult, but we want to try to make sure first and foremost that safety is our top priority.
Now, as for today, schools did get out 3 hours early. A spokesperson from the school district said students will not have to make up that time. As for whether or not there will be school tomorrow, they said they're going to be monitoring the conditions, the road conditions, as well as the forecast, and they'll keep everyone posted as soon as they make that decision. Of course, we'll have their response on 13newsnow.com as well as on air. Live in Virginia Beach, Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.
In Chesapeake, utility workers had to deal with a call to repair a broken water main. The problem is in the northbound lanes of Battlefield Boulevard at Volvo Parkway, a straight lane and a left turn lane were closed earlier today, and drivers can expect more closures as the work continues. The lane closures could last up to an hour at a time.
Some community meetings we told you about this week are not happening anymore. In Norfolk, a meeting on Ward's Corner is postponed. It was supposed to happen tonight at the Workforce Development Center. Now it will happen on February 7th. And Virginia Beach had a sea level rise meeting planned at Lansdowne High School, but the city will reschedule it for a later day.
13 News Now is also keeping a close eye on power outages. This is a look at Dominion Energy's online outage map. Right now, nearly everyone has power, but when the storm picks up, we could have some outages. In case you lose power, you'll want to write down this number and keep it handy. It is 1-866-DOM-HELP. That is 1-866-366-4357. That number will let you report outages directly to Dominion.
And the good news, we're not looking at nearly the strong winds like we saw with the last storm, nor the snowfall amount. So again, that's some better news, and we don't expect as many issues with power outages as we saw 2 weeks ago to the day. Notice how we still have some batches of snow showers, some more moderate snow in a few areas, but we've got some dry patches as well showing up. There's a little bit more back west of there. So as we go through the evening, we'll start to see the snow taper off in a few spots, pick up in intensity for parts of Southside into northeastern North Carolina as that one line, this batch right here, slides south and eastward. We've got some more of the moderate snow back through Suffolk, Portsmouth, Western Branch section of Chesapeake, even Great Bridge, Deep Creek, up through Norfolk and out towards the ocean front. We're seeing that snow as well, even making its way as far south as Creeds in Virginia Beach. As you cross the state line into northeastern North Carolina, Hertford County got some pretty heavy snow between Murfreesboro and Ahoskie. Starts to lessen up back toward Lynch's Corner, Morgan's Corner, down towards Hertford. It picks up a little bit more in Edenton. Hopping across the river and over towards the Chesapeake Bay along the eastern shore, the heaviest of the snow is now pushing towards the ocean side of the shore, and we're seeing some lesser amounts back across the Middle Peninsula and the Northern Neck, where we're just seeing these white colors indicating just a few flurries. So the snow will continue to slowly work its way south and east. We'll still look for those winds at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. It'll take the longest to change over down here, down towards Kill Devil Hills and the Outer Banks, where we're still looking at some of those showers. But by about 11 o'clock, winding down for much of Virginia. And as we get into tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., the heaviest of the snow will be offshore. Skies will be clearing, but notice these temperatures in the 20s. So any snow that is out there will likely remain on the ground on those roadways. So we are looking at some issues with some slick spots tomorrow morning as we start the day. Sunshine as we go through the afternoon, only getting above freezing by about noontime. Temperatures making a run for the upper 30s to around 40 degrees. We'll go officially about 39. Notice those winds coming in out of the southwest, a little bit of a warmer direction for us and starting to pick up in intensity just a little bit as well. And for Friday, a lot more sunshine as well. Temperatures into the mid-40s by midday and up into the mid to upper 40s into the afternoon. Now, Jeff has been analyzing this storm, taking a look at snowfall totals, seeing how it's evolving. What are you seeing with the storm right now, Jeff?
Well, there are a few areas down in central North Carolina getting a little bit more than maybe some people had expected. We had said there'd be a bullseye most likely down there, and that has come to fruition. Let's take a look right now, though, at the radar. You just showed this, and again, those areas where you see more of that bluish or teal color are where the snow is the heaviest. We talked about a couple of different locations here, and we'll do so again in a second, but I want to show you the real difference from east to west, depending on, again, what side of that heavy snow band you're on. Nash County, 1 inch of snow near Rocky Mount. You go closer to Raleigh and you're talking 5.5 inches, and there were reports even of 7 or more inches on the west side. Now, not as many reports here in Virginia locally just yet, because again, it is relatively minor still at this point. But out in Lunenburg, 5 inches of snow in the community of Victoria. And then you get way over here east of 95, and the National Weather Service in Sussex County at Wakefield just reported 2 inches of snow had fallen there. So we said 1 to 3. I think that is going to be correct. I think this one's going to be correct because I think it's going to be right in between. But to account for the possibility of a few areas getting a little bit more as that storm strengthens and we get more of a bullseye, maybe in a few spots right near the coastline, we're going to stick with the heaviest snow inland. but say for most of Hampton Roads, maybe 1 to 3, but probably more like 2 to 4 as we go through again late this evening into the early portion of the overnight. Then things, as you mentioned, Evan, begin to clear out. I'm working on a couple of graphics, and I'll have a lot more, of course, coming up starting at 5 o'clock, but we'll be tag teaming weather for now. Back to you, Evan.
Thanks, Jeff. Here's another look outside. This is our sky view on top of Nauticus, looking over towards Town Point Park, the cruise terminal here, and you can see the snow accumulating nicely up on the roof of the building and through Town Point Park. Temperature 28 degrees, northerly winds at 15 miles per hour, and still holding above freezing in a few spots across northeastern North Carolina, but those readings are dropping as well, and all of us will see lows down into the 20s and low 20s in most spots, a few upper teens inland, and with temperatures down near 20. Roads will be hazardous later tonight and tomorrow morning. 39 degrees for a high temperature for your day on Thursday, mostly sunny skies. 26 tomorrow night, cold again, and then looking ahead towards Friday, 52, mostly sunny, much milder and even warmer again as we get into your Saturday, 57 degrees, 57 Sunday, 60 on Monday. Then another front moves through Tuesday, giving us a few showers. Fortunately, not an Arctic front, so temperatures only dropping into the mid-50s on Wednesday.
New information in a deadly triple shooting. Who's behind bars tonight and what police are revealing about what happened.
And a live look at the roads as the snow continues to pile up. We are in storm mode, tracking the conditions. A live look over downtown Norfolk where the snow has started coming down. 13 News Now is in storm mode as we track winter warnings and advisories. Another check of the forecast is coming up in about 5 minutes.
New information in a Virginia Beach homicide. Today, we learned 4 people are charged in a triple shooting from earlier this month in Virginia Beach. Dale Garvin, Stephen Gray, Malcolm Hart, and Justin Rigby are charged with conspiracy and robbery. They are all in the Virginia Beach jail tonight. Investigators say the 4 men killed Michael Kane and Matthew Jerkinen earlier this month. The shooting happened on Gate Tree Court, not far from Oceana. Police say an argument may have led to the shooting. And sad news from Isle of Wight County. Investigators say a little boy hurt in an alleged act of child abuse has died. A relative tells us 5-year-old Levi Robertson passed away after spending a week on life support. Authorities found him unresponsive at a home on January 8th. The boy's mother, Jay Hadley, is charged with child abuse and malicious wounding. A man who lived with the family, Justin Cox, is charged with child neglect. The case is still under investigation and there could be more charges.
A death investigation is underway tonight at the Hampton Roads Regional Jail. Jail officials confirmed Tamika Simpson died after spending time at the jail. She was booked into the facility in July of 2017. Then yesterday, she was taken to Maryview Medical Center for treatment for some type of medical condition. She died this morning at the hospital. We are told the police department and state police are investigating.
A local sheriff is stepping down. Isle of Wight County Sheriff Mark Marshall is leaving his post. Sheriff Marshall has led the sheriff's office since 2012. In a letter, he says he has recently decided to get involved with the family business project on the Eastern Shore. He thanked the Isle of Wight community for their kindness. His resignation takes effect on March 1st, and we're told Deputy Sheriff James Clark will take over.
A meeting to fight drilling off the Virginia coast has been postponed. The meeting was scheduled at a hotel in Richmond today, but because of the weather, they are changing the date. This comes after federal officials proposed opening most of the country's coast to offshore drilling. Last week, Governor Ralph Northam asked the Trump administration to exclude Virginia from offshore drilling.
George Washington's Mount Vernon mansion will be closing temporarily for scheduled preservation work. The home of the banks on the banks of the Potomac River will be closed from January 22nd through February 4th. The estate itself will remain open and tourists can visit the museum, Washington's grave, and other attractions. Admission to the estate will be 50% off while the mansion is closed. The privately operated estate attracts roughly 1 million visitors a year. We know the snow will make our roads dangerous, but what about the sidewalks? Next, see who's responsible for keeping walkways clear during the storm. And small plow trucks are starting to fill the streets, what plow drivers are saying as they get ready to hit the roads.
And if it hasn't reached you yet, it's probably going to get there soon.
Get ready, round 2 of snow is moving in.
Coming up, I'll tell you some things you can do to be safe and avoid slipping and falling.
I'm Stephen Graves in Suffolk, where the snow has started falling heavily. What are the roads looking like? I'll give you a live update coming up.
Team coverage starts right now.
13 News Now begins in storm mode.
From Williamsburg to Suffolk to Franklin, we have crews spread out all over Hampton Roads.
Not only that, Evan Stewart is outside the studio monitoring conditions, and Jeff Lawson is inside, nice and warm.
And good afternoon, I'm Regina Mobley.
And I'm Janet Roach. What's the #1 question on everyone's mind right now? How much snow will fall?
Evan joins us outside with the answer. Evan, how's the temperature out there?
Well, the temperature is pretty cold out here right now. We're looking at readings that are in the upper 20s. You can see there at the bottom of your screen, the wind chill is 17. Now, as we take a look at the radar, as we have gone here through the past couple of hours, we've really snow start to work its way eastward. There are a few gaps in the snow. You'll notice up around Williamsburg, we've seen that snow start to lessen up just a little bit. Still some rain mixing in down across northeastern North Carolina. As we take a live shot here, this is courtesy of history.org. Duke of Gloucester Street up in Colonial Williamsburg. A nice accumulation out there on the ground right now. And we have seen that snow accumulating in other spots. Wakefield picking up about 2 inches of snow. We've got the snow on the ground up in Hampton as well. This is at the Virginia Air and Space Center. And you can see the road's not looking too bad there along Settlers Landing Road, but you can look behind me and you can see that we do have snow already starting to accumulate on the ground here in Norfolk. Now, up across the eastern shore, we've seen the heavier snow work its way closer to the ocean side of the shore, and this is up in Wachapreague where we've got some of that snow that's been accumulating as well. So how much are we looking at? Well, we've been going through the numbers, seeing how much snow has fallen in other areas, and you can see that we've got some of the heavier snow working its way into the south side as well. And of course, out here in downtown Norfolk, we've got the heavy snow as well, starting to pick up in intensity. When I was out here earlier, we had just small little flakes, and now we're seeing some larger flakes coming in. Now, generally, we were saying about 1 to 3, with some areas picking up a little more if the storm strengthens offshore, and we're still going with that for some of our northern areas, but generally about 2 to 4 inches with some of those heavier amounts working their way back towards central Virginia and North Carolina. So through the evening, continuing to look at the snow falling for the next several hours, temperatures slowly dropping into the mid-20s by about 9 o'clock. Notice that snow starting to taper off around 9, 10 o'clock. It'll linger a little bit longer down in northeastern North Carolina. Now, when I come back, we'll talk about a much warmer forecast. Temperatures in the 50s and close to 60 degrees. That's all coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Evan.
Well, to downtown Norfolk now, where sidewalks are beginning to get a little slushy.
Erin LeBeau is down by the Main in downtown Norfolk. Now, Erin, you found a few ways that we can avoid slipping on that icy stuff.
Yeah, Regina, and that's really a big problem when this snow starts coming down. It's really been coming down, like Evan said, for the last hour or so. If you take a look over here, you can see it building up here on the car, also in the street. But take a look where I'm standing. As soon as that snow is hitting, it's melting. That's because a lot of businesses down here have pre-treated these sidewalks with salt, really dropping that temperature, causing the snow to melt, and really trying to prevent people from walking in this area, slipping and falling. It's pretty common for outdoor slip and falls to happen in the winter. When it comes to playing it safe, you could say that seniors take it more seriously than others.
Seniors, they really shouldn't be out.
Before noon, crowds of people flooded Taylor's Do-It Center in Norfolk, buying shovels and salt, preparing for the snowfall and to avoid slipping and falling.
I make sure, number one, first thing in the morning, I make sure that that path is clear.
One thing you don't want to do is come out your house, step on that stair, and then slide all the way down.
According to the Decker Law Firm's website, some common injuries from falls are to your head, ankle, hip, and back. Here's a few things they suggest to stay safe. Use adhesive material or anti-skid paint on a deck or patio that is prone to freezing. And if the snow has already fallen, move it and treat it as soon as possible. At Taylor's, they say the earlier, the better.
Well, thank goodness people are getting prepared much earlier. Is always to lay salt or ice melt down prior to the snow coming. That way it's more easier to sweep away and get rid of.
And coming up at 5:30, I'll have one more practical thing that you can use to help keep you safe if you have to be out and about. But that's the latest here in Norfolk. I'll go ahead and toss it to Stephen Graves over in Suffolk.
Hey, Ernie, yeah, here in Suffolk, the snow is falling really heavily right now. We're seeing those big flakes. If you take a look at some of these cars here, the snow is already accumulating on them. They're probably headed from work, but they have to take it easy because as we look down at the grass, you can see it is accumulating here, probably about an inch or so. It's been snowing for about an hour and a half in Suffolk. And then as we go over to the roads, you can see it's starting to stick a little bit here, but there was some treatment done at starting Monday. This is what city crews tell me, and thankfully schools were out today, so it makes less cars on the road, and thankfully that prevents more accidents. And if you take a look at some of the video we shot at Mike Duman's Collision Center, this is one of the smallest collision centers in Suffolk, but the busiest. Like a couple of weeks ago with our blizzard, they said they got about 40 different claims to come in there from that blizzard, and believe it or not, they're expecting more accidents from this smaller amount of snowfall.
Now people are already at work, so if it happens during the workday, people have to make that commute back home. So I expect it to be a lot more traffic late in the afternoon between like 4 and 5, and that's where a lot of that stuff happens at.
And back out here live, the roads, once again, we want to show you those because, like he said, you know, a lot of people were at work earlier and they have to go back home. And the people we're talking to in cars say they are headed straight home. They're not going anywhere else. But coming up, we're going to ask about any accidents that might have happened. We're here on the intersection of 58 and Godwin Boulevard. A lot of cars, very busy here. We're going to call in and ask if any accidents have happened. We're going to check in with emergency crews, and you'll also hear more from the Collision Center about what to look out for and what type of accidents they saw coming in, so you can be more careful the next day, as well as some of the snow might be still around. We'll have that update in about an hour. Reporting live in Suffolk, I'm Stephen Graves. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Stephen. Of course, the big concern right now is the ride home tonight. Let's check it now with Christina.
Yeah, well into the start of rush hour here in Hampton Roads, and you can see our traffic network map showing a red, and more red. Pretty much every major roadway in Hampton Roads is affected, and here's why. Whiteout conditions out there. This is a live look at I-264 at the Berkeley Bridge. Now, about half an hour ago, there was an accident there, ice-related, that we're told, and you can see why. Just absolutely whiteout conditions there. Heading to the peninsula now. This is I-64 near the West Clyde, J. Clyde Morris Boulevard there. You can see still clearing up an accident there, and this is affecting the westbound lanes, and this was actually involving a Virginia state trooper. We'll have much more on traffic in just a couple of minutes, guys.
He's near Franklin, and things are starting to get covered there. We're going to check in a little while back with him to get an update on the conditions. Well, from the roads to the skies, we're seeing a lot of delays, even some cancellations over at Norfolk International Airport. And while the snow just started falling here, other airports are also getting hit, causing a ripple effect all across the country. And speaking of flying, a big announcement from Elite Airways. The airline will soon offer nonstop jet service between Newport News and Myrtle Beach. Flights start at $129 each way and run twice weekly. That begins in April, but tickets are available for purchase now.
And although the snow did start falling just a little while ago, a lot of people are out there taking pictures and sharing them with us. Remember, hashtag 13 storm mode. Here's one from Chelsea out in Suffolk. We saw Stephen Graves there just a little while ago. It's certainly sticking on the ground. Cortland, thank you for that picture. Great picture of an old tree there. Here we have from Port Haywood. This is Matthews County. This was just a couple hours ago. It was around 2:30 p.m. That is from Birdie Riggs up there. I can't decide if Misha actually likes the snow here in Newport News or not, but there's Misha in Newport News just kind of out there and on the ground, so I can't really tell. Now remember, if you do want to share your pictures with us, we have many ways you can do that. You can go to our Facebook page and share it that way. You can email us at shareit@13newsnow.com. You also can use our app. If you go on there, you'll see a tile for Share It. We'll look for those pictures. Remember, hashtag 13 storm mode.
Record cold is freezing over the deep south. I'm ABC's Maggie Rulli, and we'll have the latest on today's massive winter storm just ahead.
And did you prep enough for this round of snow coming up? The top last-minute common sense tips that AAA says many of us tend to forget.
No mic? There was no mic?
She had no mic.
Mic check now, please.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5.
Hampton Roads included. Some 90 million people are standing in the path of a massive winter storm marching across the country.
Ice and snow stretch from the Midwest to the deep south and across the East Coast. Maggie Rulli joins us now with a look at conditions across the country.
Janet and Regina, this is one massive storm stretching from the Midwest down to Texas and across the East Coast. It is making for some messy and dangerous driving conditions. Record cold has frozen the deep south as much of the region declares a state of emergency. Schools and roads across the South remain closed.
And I want to urge residents, as I usually do in these type of events, I want them to be ready, and I want them to stay off the roads unless absolutely necessary.
Watch out!
The deep freeze icing over roads from Texas to South Carolina to Atlanta.
It's been a pretty slippery road down here.
Houston is seeing such bad traffic jams, some drivers are going backwards.
It's terribly frustrating. I don't even really know where I am at the moment.
Other highways in Texas look more like bumper cars. Our station KTRK reporting one crash when another truck careens down the same road.
Please stay off the roads. Please stay off the roads.
The icy roads are littered with accidents. More than 400 crashes in Houston alone. And to the north, ice-jammed rivers are overflowing, even flooding entire neighborhoods. The frigid temps are also wreaking havoc on air travel. More than 1,500 flights are already canceled and thousands more delayed. When it comes to de-icing, many Texans are turning to some creative solutions. We're getting hit with the last of the snowstorm right now here in the Northeast, but it is not over yet. In its wake, the storm's expected to leave behind yet another blast of cold Arctic air. In New York, Maggie Bruley, 13 News Now.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Virginia State troopers are out braving the elements to keep you safe.
We want to get a check on the conditions right now. Joining us by phone is Sergeant Michelle Anaya, State Police. Thank you so much for joining us. We understand a state trooper has been involved in an accident in Newport News on 64.
That is correct. Trooper was assisting motorists with another accident when a vehicle lost control and struck his vehicle from behind. The trooper suffered non-life-threatening injuries and was taken to Centera Careplex to be checked out.
All right, keep us posted on his condition. Thank you.
Well, obviously, just based on that incident and some others we're hearing about, the roads are definitely dangerous out there. Where are you seeing the majority of the trouble spots?
Currently, we're seeing the trouble spots on 64 from Williamsburg all the way up through Chesapeake. We're asking people to please slow it down and be cognizant of your stopping distance. We have a lot of disabled vehicles and we have a lot of traffic accidents that have occurred within the last hour.
Michelle, this is something you're concerned about when we have good conditions, people driving while texting and doing other things. Talk to our viewers about the importance of staying focused while driving in conditions like this.
This is true. Definitely be focused and be cognizant of the law enforcement, VDOT, and other workers that are out here trying to clear the roadway and trying to clear the disabled and traffic accidents. Drive distraction-free, especially slow down for these road conditions. They do not look as slick, but they are very wet, and a lot of people are sliding off the roadway. Definitely use your headlights to increase your visibility and help other drivers to see you. And remember to share the road responsibly with, VDOT vehicles, emergency vehicles, law enforcement, fire, and rescue.
Good advice. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, well, you've got your bread, your milk, and maybe even a little bit of wine, so you're prepared, right? Not so much. AAA released a few last-minute reminders that they say a lot of drivers just forget. First, dress as if you're going to be stranded. It can get very cold on the side of the road waiting for help, especially for kids. Open the garage door before starting your car to prevent carbon monoxide buildup. And of course, it can be fatal when breathed in such a confined area. We'll have many more of those tips for you on our website. Just head to 13newsnow.com.
And now your 13 News Now weather forecast, certified most accurate in Hampton Roads.
Well, we are seeing the snow still across much of Hampton Roads, the exception right along the Outer Banks of North Carolina, southern Currituck County, Dare County, where we're seeing a little bit of rain, but that heavier band of snow right through here, just off the eastern shore, back through parts of Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, and into northeastern North Carolina. And we've been saying that there's likely going to be a bullseye of another area of snow that receives a little bit more somewhere across eastern Virginia or North Carolina to go along with a big bullseye that's been back, especially across central North Carolina, where they've already picked up about 7 or 8 inches in a few spots back towards Raleigh. You can see that heavier line working its way off towards the east and right now approaching Elizabeth City as we zoom in across eastern North Carolina. Hertford County, Ahoskie, Gates County, Juwan County, Pasquotank, Perquimans picking up that heavier snow. Northern Camden and Currituck County. little batch of some heavier snow approaching Knott's Island, and now just a couple of flurries through the rest of the Outer Banks of Currituck. Off towards the south side, everybody's seeing the snow now, though it starts to lighten up a little bit back through Surrey County, Southampton County, and up across the peninsula around Williamsburg, getting a little bit of a little break or a hole in the activity right through there, and some light snow working its way up through the middle peninsula of the northern neck. Picks up in intensity a little bit more over across the eastern shore. So as we take a look at our evening forecast, and one of the things I do like about this graphic that we probably don't mention enough, this is real-time traffic information with these cars that are driving, and it is a lot of traffic right there along the Berkeley Bridge. Mentioned earlier that there was a breakdown, and that has backed up traffic. That has now cleared the accident or the breakdown, but still a lot of traffic there. So through the evening, we're looking at windy conditions, the snow, roads becoming hazardous. You've already heard reports of many breakdowns and the accident that we're tracking as well. Northerly winds still coming in 10 to 20, gusting up to 25. And through the rest of the evening, we'll look for this batch of snow to slowly work its way eastward. It's been a slow mover, and there were a lot of folks who were saying earlier, well, where's the snow? Well, now it's working its way in. But notice that back edge is now back east of the mountains and continuing to press eastward. So through the evening, still looking at some of the snow. 9 o'clock, still snow around, starting to wind down around 10, 11 o'clock, with the exception of northeastern North Carolina, will likely be to the early morning hours before the heaviest of the snow pushes off the coast. But with temperatures in the 20s, we are looking at likely a lot of slick roadways out there tomorrow morning. And those winds will be picking up out of the northwest, gusts upwards of 20 to 25 miles per hour as we start the day on Thursday. Through the afternoon, temperatures finally rising above freezing up into the upper 30s to around 40 degrees. Lots of sunshine Thursday, lots of sunshine Friday. Warmer temperatures, and we've got some 50s and even temperatures near 60 degrees by the weekend. But taking a look at some of the snowfall totals, analyzing the storm, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lawson joins me now with some of the latest information.
All right. I also want to talk about the winds, because that's going to be an issue as we go through tonight into tomorrow. It's going to blow the snow around. It's also going to cause wind chills that are very, very low. So let's take a look, first of all, at the current graphic. You can see, as Evan just pointed out, a lot of these snow bands still around. The winds generally not horrible out there right now, but notice how they increase as we go into tonight, starting to gust up toward 20, gusting to, I think these are even a little underdone. I think overnight we're going to be sustained in the teens to near 20, and then gusts probably at least to the low, if not mid or upper 20s. So that's going to cause, again, blowing and drifting of snow into tomorrow. Things will start to, again, wind down a little bit. As for the snowfall forecast, we're trying to tweak it just a little bit. Off to the north, you're not going to get as much. Still the bullseye out in central North Carolina, parts of sort of south central Virginia that we've been talking about for days. Around here, Evan and I were just talking, probably what we had is going to be okay, and what we have now is okay. You say, well, I wasn't watching yesterday. What did you have? We had 1 to 3 and said there could be a couple of spots a little bit higher if the storm strengthened offshore. Since there are some signs of that, we're going to say 2 to 4. I still think it's going to be right about in the middle of both of the numbers that we put out, probably around 2 or 3. But because of that strengthening, the possibility of a few heavier bands, we're going to have to include at least a couple of spots that could get up near 4. So mentioned it, though, for days and days. Doesn't matter if we get an inch, 2 inches, or 4 inches. The bottom line is a big mess out there, and it'll gradually go away as the warmer air moves in. Evan, back to you.
Thanks, Jeff. Now we've got the snow out along the Virginia Beach oceanfront. We've been watching that start to accumulate, and temperatures that are in the 20s, although we're still holding on to that 33-degree reading down in Elizabeth City. So snow will start to taper off later tonight, and by tomorrow we're looking at a lot of sunshine, 39 degrees, 52 Friday, and up near 60 as we get into the weekend. We'll say 57 both Saturday and Sunday, but 60 by Monday. Another front moves in Tuesday, giving us a chance for a few showers, and temperatures dropping a bit by Wednesday, but it's not an Arctic front, a high of only 54.
All right, thanks, Evan. Keep it here as we track this second round of snow. The largest and most trusted team of meteorologists in Hampton Roads is right here on 13 News Now.
Some parts of North Carolina blanketed in snow, others not so much. We'll take you across the Tar Heel state for a look at the storm's impact. Then on 13 News Now at 5, this second round of winter weather is keeping road crews on their toes. Find out what's being done to keep you safe. Then these snowstorms are proving to be bad for business. 13 News Now reporter Allie Weatherton shows us just how bad, coming up.
And then some sky views.
Mic check 1, 2, 3.
Somebody. All right, live to the Outer Banks now. It looks like the snow has yet to hit the beach, but the ocean is churning, and this is the pier in Kitty Hawk. NCDOT released new information today about its efforts to keep snow off the roads. Now that the storm has started, it's been going on there for a while. There are more than 1,000 trucks working across the state to de-ice the roads. They're dumping thousands of tons of salt and a sand-salt mixture on the roads. They're also putting down more than 200,000 gallons of brine. Now, a little further to the west in the Tar Heel State, the snow covers the roads. Maddie Gardner with our sister station, WFMY, joins us now with a look at conditions. Maddie.
I'm Maddie Gardner, live in downtown Greensboro, where take a look. We are dealing with upwards of 5 inches of snow right now. And you know what? It's not just on the sidewalks that you're looking at. It's also on the roads. If you look right behind me, this is a main road here in Greensboro, Market Street. Buses are still trying to navigate these treacherous conditions right now, but you can see they are just covered in snow. Take a look over here. Snow plows are lined up ready to go, trying to scrape those roads and put salt on them. But this is falling faster than they can clear it right now. We've already seen several accidents here in Guilford County and across the Piedmont Triad. And you know what? With this snowfall keeping on coming, it doesn't look like it's going to let up anytime soon. Everybody be safe out there. Don't get on the roads if you don't have to.
All right, Maddie Gardner checking in from Greensboro. Got a lot of relatives down there. And that's all we have for you today at 4. 13's News Now at 5 starts now.
The snow is back here in Hampton Roads. I'm in Newport News and Williamsburg, and we're seeing how people are holding up.
It kills the business just because nobody, the streets, nobody can get out.
Winter weather is taking a toll on local businesses. Now business owners are hoping this snow is the last we'll see for a while.
It didn't cause a problem for me, but I know a lot of people that it does cause problems for.
Snow day after snow day for kids in Hampton Roads. Tonight, how students and parents are coping with days off and getting out early.
Live at 5, this is 13 News Now.
All right, the snow is falling in Hampton Roads for the second time this year. We have a crew out on the roads right now driving around in our mobile weather lab. You're looking live at conditions around Emporia. Our crew is on Route 58 headed west. Thanks for joining us. While 13 News Now is in storm mode, I'm Janet Roach.
And I'm David Allen. We are under winter storm warnings and advisories tonight. Let's head outside and check in with Jeff, who's tracking that snow for us. Jeff.
All right. Apparently, we're having some audio difficulties there with Jeff. We'll get that straightened out. But one of the first places where the snow started falling in Hampton Roads was up near Williamsburg.
Yeah, let's check in with Nico Clemens, who is taking a look at the snowfall over Newport News City Center. Am I right, Nico?
Yeah, David, I'm on Jefferson Avenue, right down the street from City Center. It's heavy snowfall about an hour ago. I would say right now it's light flurries coming down. Light flurries coming down here in Light flurries coming down here in Newport News, excuse me. The snow has been snowing here on the peninsula all morning since 9 this morning. Check out the grass and check out the sidewalks. The snow is starting to stick, but take a look at the roads over here. Slush is starting to form and build, and drivers are going slower than they were about an hour ago. And people I spoke with today, they say if we can handle the snow we got 2 weeks ago, they can handle today.
I liked it when I was young, but the older you get, the less you like it.
Here we go. Again.
As long as it's like this, yeah, snow like we had a couple weeks ago, not so much. We're all watching the weather still.
For the second time in 2 weeks, snow showers blanketing much of Hampton Roads, but not as much this time around.
Everybody was driving like heck, really fast. So I stayed in the middle lane and let them do it. You don't want to do that in this kind of weather.
We caught up with Jim McBriarty in Newport News. He's from Boston, so this is nothing to him.
We have snow here. It's generally like 2 inches. In Boston, it's like 2 to 4 feet.
Snow started falling early Wednesday morning on the peninsula. In both Newport News and Williamsburg, crews started preparing a day ago for whatever Mother Nature brings.
Once we get a couple of inches on the ground, we would definitely be out there plowing, so hopefully it won't be too long that we get them cleared.
McBriarty doesn't seem too worried.
I wouldn't be concerned about that because I used to do a lot of shoveling.
And once again, take a look at the roads. If you have to be out here tonight, go slow, be careful. And fortunately, this time around, it's going to warm up quickly. So whatever we get tonight, hopefully it's going to melt real soon starting tomorrow. Live in Newport News, I'm Nico Clemens, 13 News Now.
All right, we are now well into rush hour on this snowy Wednesday evening. Let's check in now with Christina Zverjako.
Yeah, David, and pretty much most of Hampton Roads is lighting up red there. Most of the roadways lighting up red on the traffic network map. I want to head to the peninsula right now. This is I-64, a live look near westbound lanes of J. Clyde Morris Boulevard. You see the cars right there. Well, that's actually a Virginia State Trooper that was hit by an alleged other driver driving on the westbound lanes there. You can see they're investigating the accident there. A Virginia State Police spokesperson tells us that driver allegedly lost control there. So another reminder to be extra careful, and here's why. This is a live look at I-264 at the Berkeley Bridge. You can see we're just dealing with whiteout, snow, icy conditions out there, and that's causing for a very, very messy commute out there. Here's another look at the traffic network map. You can see I-64 red all the way from the HRBT to the I-264 interchange. It's going to be a long night. You have to heed the warnings, drive very carefully, and I'll be back with another update on traffic in just a little while, guys.
All right, 2 snowstorms in 2 weeks have business owners at the Virginia Beach oceanfront worried. 13 News Now reporter Allie Weatherton is live at the oceanfront. And Allie, business owners tell you a lot of money is being lost because of winter weather.
Yeah, Janet, that's right. The manager here at Rudy Tours tells me if those boats don't go out on the water, they're losing about $3,000 to $5,000 a day. That's a lot, and it's because of these conditions. Take a look behind me. You can see the snow is coming down and it is sticking. You can see the dock there covered full of snow, and he says that's one of the reasons why they just can't go out on the water. It's the season for whale watching.
Believe it or not, the people will still come.
But today, Captain Skip Feller's eyes aren't peeled on spotting whales, but spotting flakes.
We had people signed up for today, and we just, you cancel it, and you give them a chance to either reschedule or refund.
The cancellation was due to high winds and the chance of snow at the ocean front.
It kills the business just because nobody, the streets, nobody can get out.
And while Feller says he's losing thousands of dollars a day, he'd rather have people safe. Feller says this is not the first but second time the snow has canceled tours.
We lost at least a week, and then a lot of it we have to get the snow off of the boats and people have to be able to get here.
He's hoping this is the last storm of the season.
You rely on the wintertime just because, it is such a seasonal, so you're making good money in the summertime, but then you do need the wintertime to carry everybody through because we've got a lot of maintenance we do on the boats in the wintertime.
Now Feller hopes this snow melts faster than it did in the last 2 weeks. His goal is to open back for the tours by Friday. Live in Virginia Beach, Allie Weatherton, 13 News Now.
VDOT crews say they're doing everything they can to keep roads clear. They've been pre-treating roads since Monday, getting ready for the snow. VDOT and contractors work together to clear the state-maintained roads and interstates. Today, 13 News Now spoke with operator Brian Owens. Loves his job, which he has been doing for 21 years. Owens says safety is a priority, and he has a message for drivers.
Well, the first thing is just there's signs on our trucks. If we're working, just let us work. Give us at least 100 feet behind us. Like I say, don't pass us, because the road is generally going to be worse in front of us than it is behind us. We don't want to damage vehicles. We just want to get the work done safely for everybody. You know, we have a family to go home to.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper wants residents to stay inside tonight and be prepared to deal with the snow.
I want them to be ready. And I want them to stay off the roads unless absolutely necessary. Cold temperatures tonight mean that tomorrow morning's commute will be dangerous.
Cooper says the good news is that temperatures are expected to climb tomorrow and into the weekend.
If you have to be out driving on the snowy and icy roads, AAA has some tips to help you trudge through whatever winter weather crosses your path. First, accelerate and decelerate slowly. Don't try to get moving in a hurry. And take time to slow down for a stoplight. Remember, it takes longer to slow down, speed up, and turn on icy roads. Never tailgate. Never. All right, the normal following distance of 3 to 4 seconds on dry pavement should be increased to 8 to 10 seconds, and when in doubt, stay home.
If you do get stuck in the snow, there are many things you can do to get out. First things first, don't let a non-professional attach a chain to your car. It could cause serious damage. What might get you out is digging snow and ice away from the tires. If that fails, put something underneath the tires like floor mats. Scott Mitchell is the fleet operations manager for AAA Tidewater. He says you can rock your car back and forth using drive and reverse, but there's a proper way to do it.
Straighten the wheels, and you want to use a rocking method forward and backwards at low speed. You do not want to gun the tires and let them spin. That's not going to give you any traction.
If you still can't get out, tow companies and AAA are out in full force today to help. They just ask for patience and for people to stay off the roads if possible.
All right, with the cold temperatures we've been seeing since New Year's Day, Norfolk police say they're seeing more cars being stolen. Since the first of the year, 40 cars have been reported stolen. 55% of those cars had either been left running unattended or had keys left inside the vehicle. Police want to remind you not to do those things while warming up your car. Remember, even if you lock your car while it's on, someone could break a window and get inside.
Local schools face tough decisions when it comes to winter weather.
Up next, 13 News Now reporter Jacqueline Lee is live at one school that got out a bit early.
The kids I spoke with were ecstatic about having the extra time off, but for parents, it was a bit of a mixed bag. Let's not forget, in the last 2 weeks, there have been 6 canceled school days. And coming up, I'll tell you what parents can expect this time around.
And young athletes are practicing snow or shine.
A little bit of cold isn't going to stop us from achieving what we want to achieve.
Still ahead, we're going swimming in the middle of this winter storm. After a string of seemingly endless snow days for kids across Hampton Roads, schools faced another tough decision today.
Many schools canceled classes. Virginia Beach let out early. 13 News Now reporter Jacqueline Lee is live for us tonight in Virginia Beach. And Jacqueline, students have to be loving this winter weather.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, I kind of would equate this to being in a snow globe. I mean, there's snow flying everywhere. If you guys take a look, it's really, been coming down in the past hour. It's blanketing everything, the streets, the trees. Even look at those school buses over there. I wouldn't say we have an inch yet, but we are slowly getting there. One of the kids I spoke with said she can't wait to make snow angels. As thousands of kids in Virginia Beach got out of school 3 hours early today. What are you going to do when you get home?
Play games and watch electronics.
Canceling school or even dismissing early is never an easy decision, according to the school district.
We're always paying careful attention to the weather, and the timing can be really difficult. But we want to try to make sure, first and foremost, that safety is our top priority.
A total of 6 school days were canceled as a result of the storm that tore through 2 weeks ago. But the decision was controversial.
I think Virginia Beach is trying to be real safe with the kids, with the traffic and with the buses going back and forth. So I think they've done a really good job.
And some parents say they're ready for things to go back to normal.
I am ready for it to warm up and for school to be back. Just scheduling is important, consistency, and it hasn't been consistent.
And a spokesperson for the school district said students will not have to make up the time that they got out early here today. Now, as for whether or not there will be school tomorrow, they're still evaluating the forecast, the road conditions, and they have not yet made that decision. As soon as we hear what they have to say about that, we'll keep you posted on air and online at 13newsnow.com. Live in Virginia Beach, Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.
All right, stay warm. Traditionally, hazard lights are a way to signal some sort of car trouble. But with the current conditions, more drivers are hitting the roads, and they're hitting the roads with their hazards on. We contacted Virginia State Police about when you're allowed to use your hazards. They said it's legal when you're slowed or stopped near a traffic hazard. Also, when you're traveling as part of a funeral procession. And relating to winter weather, you can use your hazards when driving at a speed of 30 miles per hour or less in a higher speed zone.
As the snow melts, potholes will form on the roads. If one damages your car on a state-maintained road, VDOT could help pay for the repairs, but it's not likely. Just submit a damage claim, and VDOT will review the claim and the pothole's location. If you have questions about your claim, call VDOT's Customer Service Center at the number on your screen. If the mishap happens on a city-maintained road, you can fill out a pothole form on your city's website. Well, potholes form when water seeps into the pavement. When it gets colder, that water freezes and expands, and once the weather warms up, the ice melts, leaving a bubble behind. Well, that bubbles will pop and crumble when the cars drive over them.
After the snow stops falling, it is your responsibility to clear the sidewalks around your home. And the rules are different in each city. In Virginia Beach, you have 6 hours to clear the snow. Norfolk City Code allows 3 hours, but city officials tell us they do not enforce this law. Chesapeake doesn't have any snow removal rules. Newport News homeowners have 5 daylight hours to clear their sidewalks, and Hampton allows a 3-hour window. If you don't follow these rules, you could get a ticket.
All right, well, we're talking about a little bit of snow across the area, and in central parts of Virginia, it's really starting to pile up. Central North Carolina, even more. We had talked about that. At the ocean front, took a little longer to get to you than some other areas. We had talked about that yesterday. Remember, we showed a timeline, had it getting there at about 3 o'clock. That's about exactly what time it started here in Norfolk and Western Virginia Beach. Right now, a couple of different lines of some moderate snowfall here across eastern portions of the viewing area from Virginia Beach down into North Carolina. Then a little bit of a gap where it's lighter, and then another heavier band here back again across parts of the peninsula and back through interior south side. And then there's even a third area from around the Richmond area, sort of intermittently stretching back down into North Carolina. Putting it all into motion, you'll see it's all moving to the northeast. So we're looking at this one heavy band here across parts of Virginia Beach. A little bit heavier here right now across central and southern Virginia Beach than it is in extreme northwestern portions up near Shore Drive. You get down here here into North Carolina, moving out of Currituck County into Camden County. Some very heavy precipitation, snow just to the east of Elizabeth City. Eastern Shore, decent snow right now, not coming down terribly heavily. As you get back here, though, across eastern sections of the Middle Peninsula around Gloucester Point, White Marsh, Grafton, and then down onto the peninsula near Menchville, it is snowing fairly heavily. While west of there, Williamsburg, back towards Surrey, that is all lighter snow. It is still snowing. It's just a little bit lighter. Heavier again, excuse me, heavier again here around Suffolk. Back down toward Gatesville, and more of the same expected over the next several hours at least. So windy with snow this evening, roads becoming hazardous. They already are in a lot of locations. Winds gusting as high as 25 miles per hour. Currently it is 28, but it feels like 17 with that northerly wind at 13, gusting over 20 currently. Those temperatures, look at everybody, is below freezing. Same thing, in fact, even more so once you get onto the peninsula. A lot of mid-20s up there. You get into the northern neck, Eastern Shore, a lot of mid-20s. So the salt works down to about those levels, and then you get colder than that, it doesn't have as much of an effect. So we'll have to keep an eye on that with the pre-treated roads. Not as bad in North Carolina. Still a few spots that are above freezing right now. Notice the precipitation lasts through the evening. I think this may even be clearing it out a little too quickly right near the coastline. It could easily step in, last a little bit longer than that. So how much snow have we had so far? Well, before I do the rest of the forecast, let's toss to Evan.
Thanks, Jeff. Yes, we've been tracking those snowfall reports coming in, and of course, you have to submit them to us or the National Weather Service to have them posted. So these are some of the latest that we've gotten, a lot through central and western Virginia, but up across the eastern shore, coming in around Chincoteague. This was around 4:38, so about 40 minutes ago, picked up an inch of snow so far up at Chincoteague, and around Accomack, this came in at 4 o'clock, so it's about an hour and 20 minutes old, an inch and a half likely. Those numbers have gone up as some of the heavier bands have worked their way in. Back across the south side, once you get close to Interstate 95, that's where we've seen some of the higher amounts. You can see around Wakefield, as of 4 o'clock, picked up 2 inches of snow, about 1.5 between Waverly and Petersburg up in Disputanta, and down towards Emporia. And that came in at 11:25. They already had an inch of snow. Certainly that number has come up as well, Jeff.
All righty. Thanks, Evan. Well, with the fresh snow cover, the cold air coming in out of the north, we're expecting actual air temperatures tonight well down into the 20s. It'll feel more like the teens, if not even single digits in a few spots. So anything that's out there tonight is going to still be around tomorrow. But we do go above freezing eventually. It takes until tomorrow afternoon, but we get back there up into the upper 30s. Here's that snow again, still circling around, working its way through eastern Virginia, eastern North Carolina. 1 to 3, maybe 2 to 4. Both the numbers we've put up here lately are probably going to be right, because it's going to be about 2 or 3, we think. Could see a little bit of a bullseye right near the coastline if the storm strengthens offshore, and there's some indication that is going to happen. Tomorrow 39, but 52 by Friday, 57 Saturday. Same thing on Sunday.
All right, Jeff, thanks so much. And believe it or not, outdoor swim practice is still on for some swimmers in Virginia Beach.
That's where we find 13 News Now reporter Philip Townsend.
Yeah, so freezing temperatures, snow, what does that make for? Like you said, a perfect pool day. What? Yeah, I'll explain coming up.
Right now, the snow is falling and swimmers, they're in the pool. That's right, the snowstorm isn't keeping these young athletes from practicing.
Yeah, 13 News Now reporter Philip Townsend is live at the Princess Anne Family YMCA in Virginia Beach. And Philip, no chance you're going to go swimming tonight, right?
Absolutely not. And pardon the cliche, but yeah, here's something you don't see every day. Swimming in the snow. What? Yeah, this is happening right now. Apparently, tide swimming, they do this all the time when it's cold, but they tell me today was extra special because it's snowing. There's one thing another batch of winter weather won't be shutting down.
3 hours like every day. Really?
It's the commitment from a group of athletes.
6 days a week.
Here at the Princess Anne YMCA in Virginia Beach.
Thinking about your head position.
Swim practice is still on, outside.
Pretty brutal. Yeah, really cold.
We actually go hide in the bathroom because that's the only warm place out here on the pool deck.
Temperatures below freezing and dropping, and these teens are still getting in the pool. Oh yeah, and it's snowing.
Yeah, you definitely learn commitment.
A thick cloud of steam tells you they're not that uncomfortable. It is a toasty 82 degrees in the water. Warm enough to get a good practice in.
The worst part is getting out of the water.
If you're questioning why, then understand these are real deal swimmers. The Tide swim team is an Olympic breeding ground, so missing even one practice can set you back.
It shows that we're willing to do anything and that a little bit of cold isn't going to stop us from achieving what we want to achieve.
And, talking to these swimmers today, they tell me, they practice indoors all the time, of course. But, one benefit of practicing outside like this is the air quality. It's really nice. So, guys, go figure. This is good for you out here. What do you think?
I'm on my way. Yeah. Me and David.
We're on there. We're there. Right?
Yeah. Ooh, gets it cold looking at it. All right, 13 News Now storm mode continues next.
Coming up, why mechanics worry more vehicles will be damaged in the snowstorm than the last one.
And keeping everyone safe from the storm, what shelters are doing to take people in, even though they're already packed with people.
Yeah, my light. Seconds, 30 seconds.
Take a look over here. You can see it.
13 News Now is in storm mode, tracking all of the angles of the second snowfall of the season.
I'm Stephen Graves in Suffolk, where crews have been treating roads since Monday, but how will they hold up when the snow comes? I'll have a live report ahead.
Well, downtown sidewalks are already being prepped with salt to prepare for the snow. Well, coming up, I'll tell you some things you can do to stay safe and avoid slipping and falling.
Plus, we have up-to-the-minute road conditions, crash reports, and a look at the snow from around the region.
And we speak to a local shelter about how it's helping people who have nowhere to go in this storm.
13 News Now begins in storm mode.
Snow is falling across most of the area right now. Here's a live look at the eastern shore from our Skyview camera, and you can see the flurries if you look real closely coming down there.
Yeah, similar scene in downtown Norfolk from our tower cam. 13 News Now has team coverage of this snowstorm. Stephen Graves and Ernie LeBeau will show us what it looks like on the ground around the area.
But let's begin with Jeff, with where the heaviest snow is falling right now.
Well, there are a couple of different bands. Right now, the heaviest is definitely not here locally. It's gotten fairly light here downtown. Talk more in a minute how much I just measured. You can see these temperatures, though. They are right now dropping back through the 20s, and the wind chill was 17 last hour. It is down to 14, and I can tell you I'm really feeling it out here. So the cold air definitely moving in. Amounts across the area again have varied depending on where the bands have set up. Right now we have a couple of bands, as you can see, one right near the coastline, then a bit of a break. That's what we're seeing here, is that whiter, lighter snow right over downtown Norfolk, and then another heavier band back a little bit west of that once again. And then it continues back even westward from there. All of that continuing to move inexorably to the east. Duke of Gloucester Street, you can see a pretty significant accumulation there, although there are some bare patches. Same thing as we look here at our Skyview in Hampton. Definitely looking at a accumulation of snow there. The radar eastern shore starting to turn a little more moderate again. The light back near Gloucester is a little lighter, and then on the Skyview on the eastern shore you can see again showing the same thing pretty much everywhere. It's either light or moderate depending on what area you're under in terms of those colors. Pretty heavy right now downtown Suffolk, back up through Gloversville and back up toward Newport News, as we mentioned, parts of Deep Creek, etc. in a little bit of a lull. This is right downtown, from right straight up there, about 400 and some feet, and you can see it's not terribly heavy right now. As for the forecast, we were saying 1 to 3. That's probably still going to be right, as is 2 to 4 still going to be right. But to account for the possibility of a couple of heavier bands, especially right near some of the coastal spots as the storm cranks up later tonight, we're going to say still basically the same thing, about 2 to 4 inches. Right now, I checked in half an hour ago, and with these temperatures falling, we're certainly not going to lose any of the snow. We had 1 3/8. Now we're up to 1 1/2. So roughly 1/8 of an inch of snow in a half an hour. So that's not terribly heavy accumulation rate, but it'll pick back up as some of these bands come through. I'll throw it back to you in the studio, and I'll be back inside again in a few minutes for the rest of the forecast.
All right, Jeff, thanks. The snow is making the roads dangerous tonight. Police and VDOT warning drivers to take it slow, but still accidents happen, and mechanics are gearing up to see a lot of vehicles once the snow stops. 13 News Now reporter Stephen Graves is live for us tonight in Suffolk. Stephen?
Hey, David. Yeah, Suffolk police tell us they've responded to at least 6 accident so far since 2 in the afternoon, and it's just been coming down since then. I want you to take a look at the concrete here. You can already see it sticking. And then a busy intersection. We're at Godwin Boulevard and Route 58. You can see it still sticking. Now, I talked to a collision center today. Hear why he says he expects more claims after this snow. Snow, no matter what the amount, means this to Rick Hester.
A good payday.
He's a manager at Mike Dooman Collision Center in Suffolk. More snow after a previous blizzard means busy follow-up days.
This last one that came around, we had 37 claims, 37 vehicles come through.
And he expects even more vehicles to come in this go-around.
So I expect it to be a lot more traffic late in the afternoon between like 4 and 5. And that's where a lot of that stuff happens at.
His lot is still full from about 2 weeks ago. This truck slipped on ice and ended up in a ditch in a rural part of town, cracking the windshield too.
Steering wheel on the hand, stopped, hand slipped off.
And as crazy as this looks, nothing surprises Hester anymore. He's been at it for about 26 years.
I've seen $200 repairs to $8,000 total losses.
Now it's just a waiting game to see how much damage is done this go around. And guys, city offices let out early, and now because of the road conditions, City of Suffolk Transit has been suspended starting at 5:30. Reporting live in Suffolk, I'm Stephen Graves. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Stephen. We're in the thick of rush hour right now. Let's get a check of the traffic with Christina Georgieko.
Yeah, David, and as we were telling you, this is not a pretty commute home. Take a look at the traffic network map, lighting out with lots and lots of red there on I-64, I-264. Looking now at the HRBT. Now, this is the Norfolk side. You see that trail of cars. VDOT reporting about a 5-mile delay there. It looks like drivers are actually heeding the warnings, not going too fast. No accidents reported on that stretch, although there are many others that VDOT is working through right now. One of those earlier was at the Berkeley Bridge, and here's why. You can see whiteout conditions there. That's some ice and snow on the camera there. So very, very important to take it slow today. You can see lots and lots of traffic and backups that we're dealing with on the roads right now. David?
All right, Christina, thank you. Virginia State Police, they're warning people to stay off the roads tonight. They tweeted out a photo earlier today showing the snowy conditions. At last check, we're told state police have responded to more than 250 crashes statewide since midnight. We're told at least one involved the state police trooper who was hospitalized when officials tell us a driver who was going too fast for the snow rear-ended the cruiser. All right, if you're wondering whether VDOT has come through the state highways near you, you can check their plow tracker. It looks like this, and it lists where any given plow is at any given time. We have a link posted on our website, 13newsnow.com. Look under links in the news.
13 News Now storm mode coverage continues next. We'll check in with Ernie LeBeau in Norfolk to see what conditions are like there and what you need to know about keeping your property clear as this snow falls. Keeping everyone safe from the storm, how shelters are preparing for a rush of people to come in from the cold. Stay up to date with this storm wherever you are using our 13 News Now app. Go to our website to download it right now, 13newsnow.com.
The snowfall can be dangerous whether you're on the roads or the sidewalks.
People across the area rushed to buy shovels and salt at the last minute before the snow started falling, ready to keep their sidewalks clear and safe.
Yeah, 13 News Now reporter Ernie LeBeau saw that rush firsthand and joins us live tonight in Norfolk. Ernie.
Yeah, and Jenna, just moments ago, we saw somebody slip and fall right across the street. But if you take a look across the street, you can see quite a bit of snow has accumulated as well as in the street. But over here where I am in front of Cafe Stella downtown, you can see that as soon as that snow is falling, it's melting. That's because this is one of the areas that has been pre-treated with salt, really to help keep people safe.
Seniors, they really shouldn't be out.
It's pretty common for outdoor slip and fall accidents to happen in the winter. And when it comes to playing it safe, you could say seniors take it more serious than others.
Don't stay out there messing around on it.
Before noon, crowds of people flooded Taylor's Do-It Center in Norfolk, buying shovels and salt, preparing for the snowfall and trying to avoid slipping and falling.
I make sure, number one, first thing in the morning, I make sure that that path is clear.
One thing you don't want to do is come out your house, step on that stair, and then slide all the way down.
According to the Decker Law Firm's website, some common injuries from falls are to your head, ankle, hip, and back. Here's a few things they suggest to keep you safe. Use adhesive material or anti-skid paint on a deck or patio that is prone to freezing. And if the snow has already fallen, move it and treat it as soon as possible. Also around your home, try and make the areas you walk on less slippery.
Get your bag of sand, mix it with the salt, put it down because that creates traction.
Another thing some say they do is to get help while walking.
If you come out with a shovel or a broom, have something to help you grip that ground, that snow, that ice.
And speaking of walking, another thing that you want to do out here is you want to stay lit. And what I mean by that, you want to light the pathway that you're walking. This will help prevent you from basically slipping on something that you did not see, like black ice. And plus, nobody likes shade. We don't like it being thrown, and you definitely don't want to walk in it during when it's icy or snowy out here. Reporting live in Norfolk, I'm Ernie LeBeau, 13 News Now.
All right, Ernie, staying lit. Coming up, staying out of the storm.
400 people in our shelters every night. And of course, more and more people are calling, looking for shelter.
What local shelters are doing right now to make space for anyone who needs help. Then at 6, it was a snowy day for most students except for those in Virginia Beach. Administrators explain why.
Do you want me to go back? So I was too close to go back more? Okay.
Not everyone has a warm home to ride out the snowstorm.
Shelters across Hampton Roads are working to make sure everyone who needs to come in can. 13 News Now reporter Megan Puryear is live in Norfolk tonight. And Megan, you found out some shelters are in a tight spot.
David, many shelters like Union Mission Ministries are already at capacity. You can see the snow is coming down behind me. Temperatures are dropping. And this is the time where people start to look for a place to sleep tonight.
More and more people are calling, looking for shelter.
Union Mission Ministries' Linda Jones says the shelter can't take in any more people.
We're at capacity. We have almost 400 people in our shelters every night.
And without state and federal funding, they need help with shortages.
Our needs tend to rise, not just with the amount of people, but we have to feed them. So we have always have a great need for food.
Hilberto Williams was homeless, and now he volunteers with the mission handing out food.
Go and feed the poor, those are their needs, and that's my, that's my job. They used to serve me before, but I have to continue serving.
And members like Minyard Davis depend on this kind of help every day.
Get the assistance that you need, get a Christian message, be able to make roots.
Asher Blackson went to the mission during last week's snowstorm, and he's been there ever since.
It's the 1 or 2 inches I can deal with, but it's over a foot of snow? No.
And he hopes to stay a little longer.
I love it here. I love it here. It's better than me out in the cold.
Now, the mission is open 24/7, and they need food, blankets, even time if you can volunteer. And all that information is on 13newsnow.com. Megan Puryear, 13 News Now.
All right, well, the snow is coming down, and of course, Jeff and Evan are working really hard following the system as it moves through the area. We're going to start with Jeff.
Yeah, well, we're noticing these lulls in between some of the heavier bands outside right now here at the studio. It is not coming down terribly heavily. You can see we're in that sort of band right there, that break between the heavy band near the shoreline of Virginia Beach that goes into North Carolina and the other one that is a little bit more to the west. So let's focus in on that one right now. Southern parts of the peninsula, Precautions, southern York County, down toward Hampton. Let's say the southern third, especially of Newport News, pretty heavy snow. Right down over the Monitor Merrimack Bridge Tunnel, some heavy snow. And then you get back west of there, and it's snowing a little bit, and it's blowing around, which might make it look even a little heavier. But in general, much lighter snow. Same thing here from downtown Norfolk back over through much of Virginia Beach. It is much, much lighter. And then you get this other heavier band that stretches from sort of the central beachfront areas around Dam Neck and stretching back, I started to say Little Creek, but Dam Neck, back down here through the Creeds area, back through Back Bay into North Carolina, Elizabeth City, some heavy pockets, and then just west of there, you notice there's that break before things pick up again. So that's what we were talking about with some of these bands in terms of making it a little difficult to pinpoint exactly how much snow is going to fall. So we know for tonight, windy with snow. There's no doubt about that. Roads are already becoming hazardous. Conditions right now, they are cold. 27 degrees, wind chill with that northerly breeze at 17 makes it feel like 14 out there, and I can vouch for that. I was outside a few minutes ago. I'll be back out there again at the top of the next hour, giving you the very latest breakdown. But look at some of these wind gusts that are out there right now. Evan Stewart is going to talk about that and the wind chills that we're going to see tonight. Evan?
That's right, Jeff. A few of those other wind gusts that we're getting reports of 30 miles per hour there at Cape Henry, 18 up in Hampton, 21 in Kiptopeak, and 18 in Fentress. So we are seeing those gusty winds, especially along the coastline. And when you factor those winds in with the air temperatures, now down to 14 degrees, the wind chill in Norfolk, 19 in Ducky. Even along the Outer Banks, it feels like 22 degrees. Feels like it's 20 in Williamsburg. So as we time things out for you with Futurecast through the evening, those wind chills continuing to drop into the low teens by 11 o'clock or so, and into tomorrow morning, we're looking at single digits or wind chills around 10 to 15 degrees as you start the day tomorrow morning. And again, I imagine there will likely be a lot of kids who miss school tomorrow as well, so they won't be out at the bus stop. But if you have to get out there and start scraping that car off tomorrow morning, it is going to be a blustery start to the day. By midday, wind chills in the mid-20s, and we should see wind chills up around 30 degrees, which is about 10 degrees cooler than what the actual air temperatures will be through the afternoon and evening. Jeff?
All righty, well, let's talk about how much snow. Some of the northern areas, only an inch or two. But as we mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter if you get 1 or 2 inches or if you get 3 or whatever. It's still going to be a mess across the area. Looks like a little bit heavier once you get across parts of the peninsula south side. We were saying 1 to 3. We've upped it to 2 to 4. I think both will end up being right because I think it'll be about 2 or 3 in most areas. But to allow for a little bit more of a bullseye if the storm strengthens offshore, still think there are a couple of spots that could be on the higher end of that range or even a tiny bit above it. So we're going to, again, go 2 to 4, but pretty much the same thing. Back inland, a lot of that snow has already begun to ease. And you can see that'll be our situation as we go through the evening. Gradually from the west, we start to see the heavier snow moving near the shoreline, continuing to move off, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take well into the early overnight hours and even longer than that, all the way through the morning rush hour for areas down there in North Carolina. Air temperature is very, very cold. Here's the center of that system moving up to the north right now and going to pass through a little bit here in a few hours. Tonight, snow tapering off, then 20 for the low. Roads will be treacherous. Tomorrow, 39 and then 52 on Friday, couple of 57 Saturday and sunny, 60 on Monday. Same thing almost on Tuesday with a little bit of rain maybe by then. So it's going to be very cold for another 36 hours or more. And after that, a lot of the snow should be gone.
All right, Jeff, let's take another look at the road conditions. This is the view from our mobile weather lab. Reporter Brian Smith is driving on Route 58 heading east. He just passed Emporia. All right, Brian, I can see some snow sticking on the ground there. We've seen it over this part of the area, and I can see you're driving in that area tonight and you're seeing some snow on the ground there as well. Be careful out there.
All right, we're getting some great pictures and video of the snow from viewers like you, and Brian Farrell is here with a look at some of them. Brian.
Yeah, and actually I was racing in here last minute because there's a cool one of a cow from Smithfield that you want to check out too. Remember, hashtag 13 storm mode. Let's start off here in Chesapeake though. Laura Smith posted this one. This is from the Western Branch area of Chesapeake. Here we have one from Cindy Gibson, snowing along the Warwick River in Denby. Nice one there. And here and in Hampton, it's coming down and doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. Thank you to Margaret Brown for that one. And Chesapeake, Virginia, again, this one's Stephanie Abate. This is off Jolliffe Road. And this could be my favorite one so far today. Meet Storm Mode Mike, because everybody really gets excited for storm mode, right? Jeff, Evan, yes? We got, he's enthusiastic. You like that, Janet? So thank you, Meredith Green, for sending that one and capturing that moment with Storm Mode Mike. Of course, a couple other pictures that we're getting from people. As soon as Chloe saw flakes, she had to go out. It's coming down fast and wet in Virginia Beach. And we'll end with this one with Brawny, who's having some post-walk accumulation. Remember, you can share your pictures with us in many ways and videos. Use hashtag 13stormmode if you're on Twitter or Facebook. You can also email us at shareit@13newsnow.com and head to our app. You'll find a tile right there that will allow you to share those pictures. David.
All right, Brian, thanks so much. Possible changes at Naval Station Norfolk. Why the Navy wants to replace a certain type of aircraft carrier.
And our storm mode coverage continues at 6. Our team is all across Hampton Roads, and you're also helping to tell the story of the storm. Tweet us your pictures. We are monitoring the hashtag 13stormmode.
There's more snow here in Virginia Beach, and school even got out early today. But what does that mean for tomorrow? I'm Jacqueline Lane. I'll tell you more about that coming up.
Mic check, Regina.
And this is a mic check.
Mic check 1, 2.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, the snow still coming down.
Big changes are in the works for the Navy. They're planning to ease out the more than half-century-old C-2 Greyhound airplane and replace it with something completely new. 13 News Now reporter Mike Gooding tells us the public gets its chance to learn all about it tomorrow.
Here at Naval Station Norfolk and throughout the rest of the Navy, they have been flying the C-2 Greyhound COD transport plane dating back to the days before the Vietnam War. But time marches on. And here is the future. It's the V-22 Osprey tilt-rotor aircraft. Takes off and lands like a helo, flies like a plane. Pilot Ross Nix says the Osprey is awesome.
This aircraft, it's a quantum leap forward in the way we've operated in the past, and it's bringing a whole new capability to the carrier strike group.
And the big difference is that because it doesn't have a tail hook or doesn't require an arrested landing, it has more capability to go to additional ships. The Navy is proposing replacing 27 legacy C-2A aircraft operated by existing Fleet Logistics Support Squadrons with 38 V-22s starting in 2022. Based upon a draft environmental assessment, the Navy says the V-22s will have only minor impacts on the environment and the local community.
We've taken a hard look at about 15 environmental resources, and there are little to no environmental effects.
We don't anticipate any significant environmental impacts with respect to noise.
A public open house meeting is scheduled for 4 to 6 p.m. tomorrow at the Mary D. Pretlow Anchor Branch Library at 111 West Ocean View Avenue in Norfolk. Mike Gooding, 13 News Now.
And that's all the news we have for you at 5:30. 13 News Now at 6 starts now.
13 News Now begins in storm mode.
Snow started coming down pretty fast, just in time for the afternoon commute. It picked up a lot late this afternoon.
Take a look. Snow is blanketing the area from Virginia Beach all the way to the eastern shore. Jeff Lawson is outside right now with a look at how much is on the ground so far.
Well, just moments ago, I went and measured. An hour ago, we were at 1 3/8 inches. Then we were at 1.5 inches half an hour ago, and now we're almost exactly at 1 3/4. Actually, maybe a 1/16 below that, but just about 1 3/4. So the amounts are starting to add up. You can see the temperatures, on the other hand, are not adding up. They're coming down, already down into the mid-20s, 25 in Hampton, 27 here in Norfolk, and it feels even colder. That screen we've been showing, the bottom corner, has had the temperature and the wind chills on it, and the wind chills are down here in Norfolk alone, down to 14 degrees. Notice these bands, though. That's the interesting thing. We have a band, then a bit of a break. In fact, we're in it right now. That lighter area you see near the O and the R and the F in Norfolk, and the word right in the center of your screen there, that is that lull that we have going on right now. It is snowing fairly lightly, even though it's blowing around. Again, that Evan just circled there for you. But then there's another batch on the other side of that. So things definitely, as we zoom in and look around, we're noticing different hot spots where the snow's coming down a little bit heavier right now. The Colonial Courthouse, that's a little bit more white than what we were looking at just a half an hour ago because, again, you're getting one of that little bit of a heavier band over you. This is Hampton also starting to see a little bit heavier precipitation move back in there right now. You can see it stretches really from the middle of the bay back down. The eastern shore, it's a little bit lighter in color, so you're getting more of a light to moderate snow from Norfolk back over to the ocean front down to Cornland. Again, light snow, and then you have that heavier band just moving through Portsmouth, northern Suffolk, stretching down through eastern Suffolk down into North Carolina. West side of that, it's a little heavier, and this too at the ocean front, starting to get some reports now of amounts adding up close to an inch down there. You started a little bit later than everybody else. Skyview right now from high above me, 400 feet up, shows that it is snowing, and again, we're going to have these bands continuing to move through. So I'll be back with a little bit more for the next 6 hours. There, the bottom line, it gets cold and the chance of snow, I think that's a little too low at 11 o'clock, for example. I think some of the indications are it'll hold on a little longer than that, but in general, late this evening, overnight, things start to taper off. We'll talk more about it. But for now, from a snowy Woodis Avenue, I guess this is, we'll be talking more about the snow coming up.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Now, for most local students, it was another snow day.
Virginia Beach was the only district in the 7 cities to decide on an early dismissal instead of a full day off. Jacqueline Lee talked to parents and students as the school day ended.
Yeah, guys, it was a bit of a mixed bag. You have some kids, I should say, who were incredibly excited, but the parents, not so much. I mean, guys, take a look at this snow. It really started coming down here about 2 hours ago. It's blanketing the streets, the trees. I mean, if you look at those school buses right over there, and I mean, take a look right over here. I'd say that's, maybe about an inch, half an inch. And, it's these conditions that led the school district to decide to dismiss schools early today. For some kids, getting out of school early today provided opportunity.
I don't like the cold weather, but I like the snow.
Why?
Because you get to play in it and make snow angels, but I need help getting up because I don't know how to get up by myself.
For some parents, it was a burden.
Well, they have to make special arrangements to try to find somebody that can pick up their kid early if they have to work late, and it just winds up causing a big problem for them.
Canceling school or even dismissing early is never an easy decision, according to the school district. In the past 2 weeks, 6 school days were canceled.
We're always paying careful attention to the weather, and the timing can be really difficult, but we want to try to make sure first and foremost that safety is our top priority.
And with safety as that priority, others are grateful.
I think Virginia Beach is trying to be real safe with the kids, with the traffic and with the buses going back and forth, so I think they've done a really good job.
And a spokesperson for the school district said kids will not have to make up the time that was lost today. As for whether or not there will be school tomorrow, they're still evaluating the forecast and the road conditions. So as soon as we hear their decision, we'll share it with you guys on air and online at 13newsnow.com. Live in Virginia Beach, Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.
As we mentioned, the snow arrived just in time to make a mess during the afternoon commute. Christina Zvercheko is keeping a track of the roadways. Any major problems out there?
Yeah, in fact, a lot. VDOT reporting a lot of accidents right now, and one of them, this is the scene of one of them. This is I-264 westbound lanes right past Ballantyne Boulevard. You can see still emergency crews there. There were some more on the scene just a couple of minutes ago when I checked this camera out. It seems like they're clearing it up, but still 3 lanes there right past Ballantyne Boulevard are closed right now, and this is just one of many scenes. Another one where we're seeing a heavy delay is actually at the HRBT. Now this is the Norfolk side, so I-64 in Norfolk, you can see traffic trailing there. VDOT at one point reporting about a 5-mile delay, then a tunnel stoppage. Now reporting still several mile delay, so if you're going out there, pack your patience. The roads are very, very busy. You can see lots of red on the traffic network map. Those hot spots in Norfolk and Virginia Beach, I-64 right around the I-264 interchange. A usual commute, for example, from the Independence Boulevard to downtown Norfolk, typically 15 minutes. And I was told that has taken some up to 50 minutes. So pack your patience, drive slowly.
All right, Christina, thanks. We're going to head out on those roads right now. Take a look at the driving conditions. Brian Smith joins us live. And Brian, where are you and how bad are those roads?
Limited visibility at times, David. It's as you can see, it's a little bit of a dusting that's starting to really kind of pile up. I'm on Route 58, about a few miles just west of Cape Ron, Virginia. So my speed limit's right around 35 miles per hour. Saw a truck go by a little faster. So take it slow tonight. Allow for some braking distance tonight. We're live near Cape Ron, Virginia. Brian Smith, 13 News Now.
The snow is making for some pretty sights as well. This is some drone video from above the College of William and Mary this morning. The Alumni Association went live on Facebook to show off the beautiful scenery above the campus. Nico Clemens started the day in Williamsburg and joins us now live in Newport News. What's the situation there, Nico?
Hey, here we go again, Regina. It's been snowing all day here on the peninsula. Still a light snow coming down here in Newport News. I'm going to first show you the sidewalk, then take you over to the road. Let's first look down at the sidewalk. Look, obviously, it's not as much as we got a couple weeks ago, but it's still a good amount here in Newport News. Now let's take a look at the roads. They're getting worse. I mean, drivers, they're definitely going slower than they were about an hour or 2 hours ago. It's going to be a wet, slushy, even slippery commute for drivers tonight. And, you know, people I spoke to today, they're just happy this is all we're getting.
Round two. The older you get, the less you'll like it.
For the second time in 2 weeks, snow showers blanketing much of Hampton Roads. But don't talk to Jim McBriarty about snow. He's from Boston. The main reason he moved to Williamsburg nearly 20 years ago? You guessed it, the snow.
In Boston, it's like 2 to 4 feet.
Not as much as we got a few weeks ago. So people are trying to enjoy this snowstorm a little bit more.
As you can see, my sunglasses become my goggles, as it were, so it's not too bad. It's actually really pretty.
In both Williamsburg and Newport News, crews started preparing a day ago for whatever Mother Nature brings.
Once we get a couple inches on the ground, we would definitely be out there plowing, so hopefully it won't be too long that we get them cleared.
McBriarty would like to think we won't see as much snow as they're seeing up north. He gave a snowplow to his brother before moving to Hampton Roads. He figured he wouldn't need it.
About a month later, we had a lot of snow in Williamsburg, and the only thing I had was a broken plastic shovel. And of course, my brother, I wanted to ask him, any way of getting that thing back to me?
Yeah, guys, we just had 2 snowplows go right past us. No doubt they'll be out here all night, all over Hampton Roads, taking care of these roads. Again, it's slushy, it's slippery, so be safe. They're on these main roads, the interstate. And again, it's going to warm up this weekend. I'm sure Jeff is going to talk more about that. So hopefully the snow that we have right now is going to be gone by this weekend. Live in Newport News, I'm Nico Clemens, 13 News Now.
Coming up after the break, our storm mode coverage continues. We'll head live to the Virginia Beach oceanfront and see how the snow is impacting businesses along the sand. Plus,
what do you do when it's below freezing and snowing? Of course, you go swimming. I'll show you what local team isn't missing practice today.
Our storm mode coverage continues in Virginia Beach. This is a live look at the ocean front from our Skyview camera.
Some businesses will remain open for the night while others are forced to shut down. Reporter Allie Weatherton is live at Rudy Inlet. And Allie, of course, all tours are canceled.
That's right, Regina. Those whale tours are canceled. They were canceled today and they will be canceled again tomorrow. And that's one reason why I want you to take a look at this parking lot. You can see it is covered in snow. Earlier, there were several cars actually doing donuts here. That's very unsafe. And that's one reason why they canceled those tours, is because they want everyone to stay safe in these conditions.
Hoping the snow does not hang around like it did last time.
That's Captain Skip Feller. He says the last storm shut down business for several days.
We lost at least a week, and then a lot of it we have to get the snow off of the boats and people have to be able to get here.
And they lost a lot of money too.
It's $2,000 or $3,000 per trip that you lose.
That's why today Feller's eyes are peeled on spotting flakes instead of spotting whales.
We had people signed up for today and you cancel it and you give them a chance to either reschedule or refund.
The cancellations were due to high winds and snow, which he says puts business at a halt.
People aren't going to come out when they know that there's possibility of possibly getting stuck somewhere.
And Feller's hoping this is the last storm of the season.
You rely on the wintertime just because, it is such a seasonal, so you're making good money in the summertime, but then you do need the wintertime to carry everybody through because we've got a lot of maintenance we do on the boats in the wintertime.
Now, Feller hopes those tours will open again starting on Friday. Live in Virginia Beach, Allie Weatherton, 13 News Now.
But the snow isn't stopping swimmers from doing their laps. We're hitting an outdoor pool where swimmers are going strong.
Oh, try. I can hear you now. Ooh. Package is still not attached. It should be. It's in. Okay. We are less than 2 out, John.
And a test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So imagine diving into a swimming pool in this kind of weather.
Well, swim practice was still on this afternoon despite the snow.
Swimmers were at the outdoor pool at the Princess Anne Family YMCA. Granted, it's a heated pool, but still outside. Philip Townsend was there to salute their dedication.
Yeah, so Tide Swimming, they had practice today. It wrapped up at around 5:30, 5:45. It started at 3:30. That means they were out here in the snow swimming for more than 2 hours. In competitive swimming, you don't miss practice.
3 hours like every day, well, 6 days a week.
Even when the pool's outside.
Thinking about your head position.
In the snow.
Yeah, you definitely learn commitment.
That's right, Tide Swimming is showing us what it takes to be an Olympic level swimmer Wednesday.
Because we love the sport. The sport is awesome. Yeah.
Notice the steam. The water is warm enough for comfort, but don't question their commitment. The real heat coming from every 50-meter sprint.
The worst part is getting out of the water.
We actually go hide in the bathroom because that's the only warm place out here on the pool deck.
And you get the wind and you're just trying to like stay under the water basically.
So why wait for summer when you've got a perfectly good pool day in the middle of January?
It shows that we're willing to do anything and that a little bit of cold isn't going to stop us from achieving what we want to achieve.
And truly, I just found this out. I had no idea. My wife actually swam for Tide back when she was in high school. I wonder if she actually had to swim in the snow. I know I wouldn't. All right, back to you guys, live in Virginia Beach.
All righty, thank you, Philip. As we just saw, it is still snowing out there, harder in some areas than in others. We've been talking about these lighter white areas is where it's very, very light snow. The darker bands is where it is snowing a little more heavily. You can see, for example, one from not really so much at the ocean front. It's pretty light up there, but just south of there, probably around Rudy Inlet south, down toward Back Bay Creeds, a heavier band. Then a bit of a break where much of our population is centered here in western Virginia Beach and down into Chesapeake, but then it gets heavier again when you get back to Norfolk, parts of the peninsula. I've taken off the light snow. These are just the heavier bands that we're going to track for you right now, and you can see, as I mentioned, from right about the ocean front there, right where 264 comes in, right not too far from Rudy Inlet, back down here through Creeds, Back Bay, then that bit of a break, Kempsville, places like that, St. Bride's, Thalia, all getting just light snow at this point. Starting to pick up here again, though, in downtown Norfolk as this next batch moves in from the west. Not as much on the eastern shore, but here comes some light to moderate snow across parts of the middle peninsula, northern neck for that matter, back down here into south side on the west side of the James River, and then a fairly heavy band here near Lynch's Corner, bit of a break, and then another one over Reynoldson. So right now the visibility, as you can see, a pretty good distance off there looking to the east, so it's not snowing terribly heavily. It is cold, however. Northerly winds at 16 right now, and a temperature of 28 degrees. The current temperature, rest of the readings, look at all these 25s here. Many spots at 25. Even down to the south, you've now gotten down to near freezing in places like Duck and Moyock, and Portsmouth, again, down to 27 degrees. So for this evening, snow continuing, temperature slowly falling back through the 20s. By about midnight, snow tapering off from north to south. It'll be a little earlier than that in northern areas, a little later than that to the south. In fact, here we go at 2:30. Still some snow around at that point, but starting to taper off. Those temperatures very, very cold. 20s, but it'll feel like at least the teens, if not a little colder. Finally, by afternoon, brilliant sunshine, a temperature above freezing. Spots where there's just that thin layer of snow, we should be able to get rid of a lot of it. So that will help. Anything we do have is going to refreeze, though, in most locations tomorrow night as it gets very cold again. Not quite as cold as tonight, but very cold again into early Friday. And then by Friday afternoon, all the way back up into the 40s. So here's the system spinning around. The heaviest snow actually back around Raleigh. We're still thinking 1 to 3, 2 to 4, depending on your exact location. If the storm strengthens offshore, there could be a little bit of a bullseye here somewhere. Lighter amounts to the north. We've seen the heavier amounts back inland. Evan's here now to tell us a little more about the history of this storm.
That's right, Jeff. As we take a look at the storm on radar right now, it's actually not very large, at least
not what's left of it, mainly focused here across the mid-Atlantic and some snow up through New England. That was not the case just 24 hours ago when snow stretched all the way from Canada to Mexico pretty much as they were picking up some snow and mixed precipitation. If you were watching yesterday, Jeff and I were talking about the snow around the Houston area and some of the frozen precipitation, some of the ice, and they had a lot of that icing across the middle part of the country. And then as the storm strengthened off the East Coast, we saw that very narrow band of snow become a little more concentrated, larger area. And we've seen some of that heavy snow, especially through parts of central North Carolina. That darker blue color there around Raleigh, back towards western Virginia and into central Virginia. That's the 6 to 12-inch area. And we've already seen reports of 7, 8, 9 inches of snow just west of Raleigh, back through Chatham County and points closer to Durham. And you can see some of the snow that fell right across Indiana, Illinois, around the Evansville area down towards Paducah and Memphis, picking up that heavy snow. And of course, up through the Northeast, you would expect areas picking up 12, 18, even maybe even 2 feet of snow once you get up closer to that Canadian border. The good news, Jeff, we've got some warmer weather on the way after this, right?
Yes, we do. It just takes a little while to get here. Not tonight. Temperatures around 20 for the low with those wind gusts to 30 miles per hour. It's going to feel really, really cold. Tomorrow, 39. A lot of sunshine, though, so that will certainly help, but it will still be blustery. The rest of the forecast is going to go like this. You can see we're talking about 39 tomorrow, 52 on Friday, and then a pair of 57s. That will feel almost spring-like compared to what we've seen lately, and then still almost 60 Monday and Tuesday. So we got about another 36 hours to go through with this cold.
Looking forward to the warm-up.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
All right, we'll be back in a moment.